All right, there we go. What's up, guys? I see Ryan in the chat already. All right, what's going on, guys? We're going to be doing a really random kind of nerdcast slash just live stream here tonight. Telling embarrassing stories. Well, I'm basically inspired by a dumb video PewDiePie did recently, but I'd rather actually have some friends come on and tell other stories as well, not just myself. But what's up, guys? We managed to be here despite Hangouts deciding to completely shit itself today. But over here, going down the line, introducing my guest, we got Sammy.
Right What's
here.
up?
From Plastic Cannibals that I'm a part of. I'm sure you're in other groups and stuff like that, but
also part of Defenders of Plastic. Represent.
Representing. And then over here with his camera turned off is Ryan, Captain Laserpants. He's been around before, but is he muted?
I'm not muted.
Okay,
I didn't think.
Know. No, you're not. You're just off camera. It's fine. He's been on here before.
Yeah. What's up?
Though I've never had you on an actual nerdcast, only on Plastic Cannibals Live.
Yeah.
Either way. And then a familiar cartoonish face over here, Josh Fisher.
Hey, what's up?
The one-legged wonder. The majestic
many
flamingo.
Things. I'm many things.
You are. Including
I do have 2 legs, though.
Yeah. You can just keep half of one in the other room if you don't want it.
Exactly.
You can store it elsewhere. You have legs.
Throw it at people.
Whip ass with
throw it at people. Yeah, it doubles as a cup holder.
Yeah, or a ball holder.
Nice.
Yeah. It does at that.
Because he actually did enter my Balls for Balls contest. We'll be doing the video for that Friday night, and then it'll be up Saturday for everybody who's waiting on the judging. And then down here on the
Paul Hughes. Hey, Paul Hughes can eat a dick. I just want to say that real quick.
That's fine. Paul Hughes can eat a dick. And then we got down here Afote.
Whoa. On that note, what's up, guys? What's going on, man? Shout out to Paul Hughes, I guess.
we love Paul. We just he and Ryan have fantastic friendship. They live together in the Pacific Northwest, and this is how they get along.
Cool. That's what's up. I'm just happy to be here with you guys, man. It's I appreciate the invite, and I love connecting with my fellow collectors. So let's get it in.
Yes. And he just has a smooth, sexy voice.
Get it in, get it on, get it around. Let's do this.
Okay. So the dumb thing about this version of Hangouts is it won't be bringing up my face very often, so you guys can live without me. But that's okay. That's what everybody else here is for. Let me pull up the chat, see who's talking.
Well, I always said you had a face for radio.
I do. All right, so Judd's here. Eric is here. Laserpants ass fuck is already here. Paul Hughes, yes. Oh, hold on. I gotta hit show on the eat a dick comment. And then Paul replied with only Ryan's mom's dick. Well, if we're gonna be talking about
it, did YouTube censor that?
It does catch it. So that's fine. I can approve it. It's funny. Either way, so let's see. Where is I can't have every window open at the same time, and it's really annoying. But it's okay. I don't need to see.
That's why you need a second monitor, dude.
I do. Somebody go buy me a second monitor because I'm rolling in that fucking YouTube money around here. But guys, basically, embarrassing stories. We all have them, and it's hard to get through life with them. And somehow, some people actually manage to do it specifically that way. Their entire life is an embarrassment, like Paul Hughes. But we got plenty of stories
That's what
here.
My mom always said. She said you're an embarrassment.
Was she talking to Paul?
And I always no, she was talking to me, and I thought it was a great thing. And then I learned what embarrassment really meant. I'm kind of sad.
That is kind of sad, and I'm sorry. But if you got stories, that'll work too. But basically, these don't all have to be like gross and weird stories. It can also be stuff that you might be like somebody else is embarrassed of you, or maybe it's an internal embarrassment that like you felt that maybe someone else didn't even consider that. The embarrassment or anything like that, internalized embarrassment, something like that. Of course, we got plenty of topics to roll through, but we're trying not to go super late because some of us have to be up early in the mornings. But anyways, we're going to start off with embarrassing childhood stories. Who wants to go first? Somebody say not it.
Not it.
I did the whole finger on the nose thing, but yeah, not it.
Yeah, we can't see your nose, Josh.
Well, shit, I'll go first. I have one.
There you go.
I have one that I could think about, but it's kind of weird because like it is. Okay, well, I'll just go into it. Like, so you guys obviously all went to elementary school. Did you ever have like field days? You've had field days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I totally got one.
The last week of school usually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did a field day. I had to be, oh man, I was probably in like I think 7th or 8th grade. And this was like in the 80s, right? So people were still wearing like, fairly short shorts, like men. You know the old school basketball shorts?
My
Yes,
dad
I
until like
remember
last
those.
year.
Yep.
So for some reason, I guess, my parents thought, it would be cool to put me in those type of shorts for
Running around outside all day.
Yes. Yo. And when I tell you, oh man, people were clowning me so hard. And we had a relay race. And I've always been, well, I shouldn't say always, because once I had kids, this all went, downhill. But I used to be fairly active and, into exercise and quick and all of that stuff. Ever since I was little, I was always very active. So, I ran a race and I won. Like I did fairly well towards the last leg of it. But I was so embarrassed, so mortified because the pants, the shorts were so short. And, I've always been stereotypically African. So as I'm coming through the last stretch of the turn, I feel a little extra breeze down there. You know what I'm saying? So I look.
You're waving to the crowd while you're running.
I was like, oh shit. Yo. And it was just the most mortifying thing, like in front of all my classmates, just like, you know what I mean? So that was pretty, it was pretty bad, man. Like it was, I mean, for a few steps, like more than a few steps, I was just waving to the crowd. Like,
but maybe that ruled in your favor later on in your school life for the girls who might have seen it back then.
Yeah, I mean, well, technically, I guess it could have, but it didn't. I was a virgin until college, so
okay.
I was kind of corny in that sense. But
So I got one next,
All
if
right.
it's cool with you guys. This is actually a field day story as well. Go off your topic because it reminded me of one of the most embarrassing things. By 8th grade, we did this fundraiser where we could raise money to go to Washington D.C. Right. So when we finally get to Washington D.C., we all go to the Washington D.C. Zoo, and I was like, all right. She's like, be back here in 20 minutes. Well, the teacher didn't go look for all of us, and they ended up leaving me at the zoo. They came back like 2 hours later, and I'm just like still walking around at the zoo, looking at shit by myself. And she's like, "Where were you? We had to call the cops and everything." I said, "Well, I went to go see the panda exhibit." Yeah, and then everybody was just clowning me. They were calling me the lost kid and everything the whole trip, or lost boy, or
so nobody
whatever.
did a head count.
No, like I don't know what the fuck like she was thinking, but I don't know why they took us there because we were only supposed to be there for like, I don't know, 15 minutes. We're gonna take a bunch of kids to the zoo for 15 minutes and then let them loose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe that was
I
just
mean,
your
a petting
interpretation.
zoo, maybe, but
Right.
Yeah, just go
But,
wander,
like,
just go
that's
wander
pretty
the whole zoo.
savage.
That's how
Yeah.
Harambe happened.
They were trying to kill
Right.
him.
Exactly. You stole my joke, bro.
Oh, sorry, man.
Afate was running a relay race with his dick out for Harambe, though.
With the fist up in the air.
Yeah,
The short shorts.
except his next partner grabbed the wrong stick.
Oh.
You called it a relay race. It was a one-man relay race. He had to hand it off
Oh, no.
by himself.
Oh no.
Oh.
Anyways, that is funny though. No, oh damn. You know what? That
That's
reminds
a
me.
lawsuit, bro. That's
Yeah,
such a lawsuit.
That actually
It would
reminds
be
me.
today.
That reminds me of a zoo story from my childhood as well. It's not necessarily embarrassing for me, but it was definitely embarrassing to the two kids that were involved. To this day, they're probably still got fucking mental problems from it. So it was the first time we ever went to the Houston Zoo, and it was a field trip, like you were talking about. Oh, I forgot I'm not on camera. Let me point at myself here. And speaking of the petting zoo, that's where this all happened. So we got to the petting zoo part, and they got goats and like llamas and whatever fucking small livestock creatures that they allowed kids to actually integrate with, and
Interact.
that's the word I wanted. And I
Let's
forgot.
integrate the kids.
Yeah,
with
I
the
forgot.
animals.
I forgot the kid's name because shit, this was 30 years ago at this point, and we're all looking for him, and we're going around petting everything, and we just, what is that smell? And we go over, and it's this little kid. I mean, he was like the littlest kid in our class, and then I think, if I remember correctly, it was a little black girl sitting right next to him, and they are covered head to fucking toe in green fucking something shit. They either fell, they either ran and fell in some shit, or they were standing in the wrong place at the wrong time. But I mean head to toe. Or maybe they had a shit fight and nobody saw it. But this poor motherfucker had to stay that way until they could, I guess, hose him down later on. Because I remember he had a larger change of clothes by the time we went home from the field trip. But it's just like, dude, I remember that smell. It was just fucking nasty. But like, there's no way that that kid ever got over that shit. No pun intended. But
it's hard to get over being covered in shit in front of people.
Yeah, and when you're like 5, and it's public, and I think his mom was there. I think it was one of those, you're that young, your parents go along with you on the field trip. But holy shit, man. But as for my own embarrassing story from childhood, I got a couple, but I'll go with this one just because it sort of fits. I remember, like, I grew up in Houston proper, and then we were moving out to the country because we built our own house and everything like that. So on the weekends, I would stay with my aunt that lived right down the road while my parents were working on the house, and I would stay the night over there for the whole weekend while they were working. And I remember that, and I've never been able to live this down thanks to my fucking cousins. So I'm like 3, maybe 4, still that age where you don't necessarily have bladder control. And I definitely peed the bed. And well, I didn't really have much in the way of extra clothes, so I had to borrow some from my female cousin.
Oh.
And I did have to wear her panties for at least one whole day till my mom could get me some new clothes from Walmart.
Nice.
And apparently, I really liked them because they were super silky and smooth.
They felt good, didn't they?
They felt good.
They felt good.
And he still wears them to this day.
The same pair, in fact. The same.
That's how we got into drag.
Exactly. But they have yet to let me live that down. They bring it up as often as they can, because my fucking family is full of dicks, even though they're chicks. But it actually tied into my birthday. I think it was my 13th birthday. My cousin thought she'd be fucking funny and rolled that same joke. And
damn!
For my gift, she fucking gave me a new pair of panties in front of everybody.
That's a callback right there.
Yeah, that bitch held on to that for like fucking 10 years, and then brought that shit back in front of all my friends and other family that were there. I was like, oh, you fucking bitch.
That's funny. You do realize that anybody that watches us now that has your address is going to send you random pairs of panties in the mail.
As long as they're clean. And that's a pretty short list, actually.
I was gonna say every figure you buy from a seller from this point on is gonna come with a free pair of Vicky's Secrets.
Hey, well, here, let me give you the wife's size, and you can just
Oh no,
you can
no,
help me out
no,
there. Okay, then you can have my size.
no, no. These are for you.
Yeah. Also, shut up, Judd. He said we
Oh,
wouldn't have
man.
to look at you. I'm a huge Victoria's Secrets customer. Well, depends on what kind of huge you mean.
Yeah.
I do tend to I can stand outside and just smell because they have great perfume there.
So
you're a creep.
Anyways.
So you're the guy that they're calling security on in the mall.
No, I'm the security guard. No, I got the job as a security guard, so I can stand there all day.
There's Paul Blart smelling the panties again.
Paul Blart.
Why is he dressed as a UPS guy? That's fucking weird. Oh,
I
never
saw
mind.
that
It's-
movie for the first time, like
Kevin
a couple
James-
weeks ago,
oh.
actually. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
I got a funny one about my friend's kid, which is kind of hilarious.
Oh, yeah, we could do that.
All right, so this happened like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. I'm not gonna name any names, but I was at my buddy's house. We were watching a movie, and it was his kids, doing what kids do, in the room playing, and we just hear him talking to himself, and then we both go and check on him, and he's sitting in there with like a cup full of piss. He's got a cup full of piss. He's dipping all his GI Joes in it, and like making them jump off into it and whatnot. And I'm like, dude, go look and see what your son's doing. And he goes in there. He's like, what the fuck? Oh
Wait,
my god!
how old was the kid?
He was probably like, I think he's like 2 or 3, something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
He's a
But he
little
wasn't old
kid.
enough. Yeah, he
No,
wasn't old enough to know
he
any
didn't
better.
know.
Okay.
He didn't know, but he had this Storm action figure that I had given him, and it was the one from the 90s. It had like the real hair.
Oh, yeah.
He had dipped her head in the fucking piss,
Wow.
Oh my god.
and I was like, dude. All right, I was like, it was kind of beat up anyway, but who cares?
No.
I was gonna say, yeah, if that
No.
kid was old enough to like know better, then that would have been a problem.
No.
He probably grew up to be a fan of scat porn and shit. Like, you know what I mean?
He loves golden showers. Now, just to clarify, it was his piss, right?
It was his piss.
Okay.
Oh, you gotta hear this.
You
Yeah,
kind of
it was
need to
there.
clarify because he just
Where'd you
got
get that
some
from?
piss.
No, he's in there with some dog piss, No, it was his piss. He's in there butt ass naked from the waist down, just squatting over it, dipping his dudes in there. I'm like, man.
I don't know.
Kids are-
Yeah, like, what the fuck's your deal? I was like, I was calling him pee-pee boy and stuff all day.
This reminds me of a couple of different stories involving piss and the same person. There was this kid in high school, and
Damn, hold up, man. The way you started that off.
Well, let me tell you about piss.
yeah,
And the same person, like,
and the
me
same
tell
person.
you
2
about
different
some
piss
piss.
stories that I witnessed.
Is it Brammer?
Involving the same person. No.
Oh, too bad.
But when I was in school, there was this kid. He was a couple of years younger than me. He was a really awkward kid, really shy, and his mother was really like one of these helicopter moms. Like you
Yeah.
would see her out town. He's like 13 years old, and she's walking and holding him by his hand up the sidewalk, dragging him along, crossing the street, holding his fucking hand and shit. So he was
Oh.
he was a
My
really
wife. You saw
sheltered
my
kid.
wife.
Yeah, he was a really sheltered kid. And we come from a tiny fucking town, but he was weird, man. And I guess it was because, it was just him and his mom, and she was kind of an odd person too. But I remember I had gym class, and it was just like first class in the morning, and every morning he would come into the gym and go to the locker room and use the bathroom. He didn't have gym class during that time, but he came to the gym into the locker room, and he would go and use the bathroom. What he was doing every morning, he was coming to school. He would strip down butt naked and fold his clothes up. He would put his shoes in the corner of the stall, and then put his pants and his underwear and his shirt on top of his shoes, and sit down and take a shit. We
Oh,
wondered what he was
damn.
doing, and a couple of us went in there one time.
Wow.
So we're like, "What the fuck's he doing?" We get down, he's like, "Okay, there's his shoes, there's his pants, and he's wearing nothing but his fucking socks."
Oh, damn.
So a buddy of mine grabbed his stuff and
Oh,
took
an
it
ass.
and dumped it into the toilet in the next stall.
Oh,
What an
dick.
asshole. What an
Yeah,
asshole.
yeah. So here this kid comes running out of the fucking bathroom, holding his, and his clothes and shoes were dumped into a piss-filled toilet.
Oh,
He
what
comes
a
running out of the
dick.
bathroom in a pair of socks, holding his junk. The perpetrator was wearing black tennis shoes. The perpetrator was wearing black tennis shoes all the way to the office.
It sounds like
And that's a sight that you never forget, right?
yeah.
That's how you
So-
get school shooters,
Wait,
bro.
did-
That's
did
how
you
you get
guys-
school shooters.
Did you
No
guys go to
shit.
school
Exactly.
with Sheldon Cooper? Like, what the hell?
I don't know,
Oh
man.
my god,
But
dude.
like 9 years later, I was working in another town nearby delivering pizzas, and he was going to the local college there, and he was living on campus, and he ordered a pizza, and I take it to him, and this dude opened up his door. He's like, "Just sit it down anywhere," and it was just like 20-30 cups, like red Solo cups full of piss all over his
Oh,
room. I
God.
was like, whoever traumatized this kid by taking his fucking
Yeah,
clothes,
Yeah.
he was so afraid of pissing in a fucking public restroom, and this is a dormitory, so it was a
Oh,
shared
yeah.
bathroom. He was so paranoid about pissing in public anymore after that he's pissing in cups in his room and just leaving them around.
Dude,
I
what
was
the
just like,
fuck?
That's
Oh,
That's
shit,
actually
sad,
sad.
man.
They,
That's
they
actually
broke that fucking
yeah.
kid.
It's
So,
sad.
Your friend is a dick
Total.
for fucking that kid
Oh, it
up.
wasn't, it
I
wasn't
just
my
have to
friend.
say.
You were just
Oh.
It wasn't
there.
my
Bummer,
friend. I
dude.
was just there. I just saw it happen.
Okay,
Oh,
so it
okay.
wasn't like your group of guys. It was just some kid.
Yeah.
All right.
God damn, yeah, that really. Well, it sounds like that
That's
kid
messed
may have had some issues prior to this because he was getting naked.
Yeah.
and shit. So, them fucking with him again.
I used to do that when I was a little kid. When I
Really?
was like 3, 4, 5 years old, I used to think just to take a shit, you had to get naked to take a shit. Because when I was a toddler, my mom conditioned me to poop before I got in the bathtub.
Yeah.
So
Oh, so
every
you were
time I
naked
took
anyways.
a shit until I got, I was already naked.
Mhm.
So until I started elementary school, I thought you were supposed to take all your clothes off to take a shit.
Huh.
So
Oh, man.
every time until I started elementary school, and then I was just like, I'm not taking my clothes off here just to poop. And then there was this and I'm gonna segue into this, and then I'm gonna hand it off to somebody. But like kindergarten, you had unisex bathrooms, right? I don't know
Oh, we
if you
never
guys
had
did.
those.
No,
We
ours
didn't
was
have
we
those.
we had a unisex bathroom. It was one bathroom, and it was in the classroom. And our teacher,
Yeah,
she
oh
was
my
one of
God.
these.
Okay.
Our teacher was really strict, and she only let you go once a day, and she let you go in alphabetical order, and she let you go right after nap time.
Mhm.
And every day, this same little fat stinky girl went in that bathroom and laid a goddamn deuce in there, and about choked me out to make me puke.
Because she was right in front of you.
Every day.
Ah.
It's just like she gets to me, and I was like, please don't let her go today. Please don't let her go today. And yep, she gets up, comes out, like all done and everything. I'm like, fuck, I ain't going in there today. One day I just said I had enough of it. I walked over to the sandbox and whipped out my little old wiener and started pissing in the sandbox in front of the entire fucking class.
Gotta go when you gotta go.
And that's back in the days when you could get paddled and everything, and they were talking about kicking me out of
Ugh.
school. It's like, she stinks. I can't stand it. It's not like, air freshener was in abundance around the toilet or anything like that. They were,
Right,
it was
exactly.
crazy.
Yeah.
So
Damn.
when I was younger, I grew up here in New Mexico mainly, but I lived in Alabama for 3 years. But when I moved to Alabama, and I hear all these kids like, "Oh yeah, the principal will paddle you," I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Here in New Mexico, it's always been illegal because there's like a huge child abuse problem and shit." So, I was like, "Holy crap, they're gonna paddle my ass?" Is that part of
Yeah,
every? So
man.
I had in my head that was like an everyday thing, and I was quiet the whole first day, and the teacher asked me, "You hadn't said anything all day or volunteered for anything. What's wrong?" Well, they told me it's almost 3 o'clock, so at 3 o'clock they paddle us.
Oh man.
Wow,
That sucks.
that's a dick. Yeah, they just paddle everybody at 3. It's just
They
it's to
paddle
make
you at three
it's to make
o'clock
you a
before you go home and paddle your ass
it's
and
the
send you
daily
home.
whooping. That would take forever to whoop every kid in the school at 3 o'clock.
Dude, I know
It'd be worth it.
there were some of us that were terrorists and probably had a few teachers that would line up to take that job.
Oh yeah,
Dude, I got my ass busted by paddling almost every day from kindergarten to 5th grade.
Was it at 3 o'clock? Was it?
No, it was just whenever I got called down on my bullshit.
Okay,
Mm.
which
So
happens.
anyway, when I actually did get in trouble to get a paddling, I got suspended for dipping out of the principal's office through the window so he couldn't hit me.
Wow. Wait, they had
So
actual
he's like, "I'll be
windows?
right back. I got to deal with this problem." And he like went to talk to the secretary real quick, and I was like, "All right, cool." So I saw the window cracked. I'm like, I could probably fit through there. So I jump through this window, jump up on his shelf through this window, drop onto the back of the dumpster, and then in back of the school was this white ass like forest field type thing, and I just took off running through that fucking forest like a bat out of hell, and I ran all the way back to my aunt's house. It's pretty hilarious.
Damn.
How much trouble did you get?
I was like, that
I
sounds like a
got in
paddling when you got
so
home.
much. I got in so much trouble. My mom was pissed because she couldn't find me. My aunt was like, "I'm gonna take you back to get paddled." I'm like, "No." And my mom's like, "No, I don't want them paddling him."
Wow.
She did. At least she stuck up for me.
Isn't that
And
crazy
I guess
how we
that's good.
all have stories about being essentially
abused,
Oh,
man.
hey, I got whipped quite a lot. I mean, I was a strong-willed child, but I also had some really shitty cousins and or nieces and nephews who would tell on me and whatnot. So my niece Ashley got me whipped more than was necessary. But most of the time, I deserved it because she deserved what I did to her. That got me whooped. But I got one last story on the childhood stuff. Basically, running kind of off what you said, Sammy. This happened when I was in 4th grade, and we were out at recess because I guess in that day and age you could still be out of recess at 4th grade, but it seemed like you're so much older, right? And me and this guy Roger and this chick named Tasha, for some reason we like decided to go wandering because our school was close to the countryside, so we got plenty of trees, and we just go wandering. Like we just follow the fence line and we just go way off into the trees and exploring, and we completely missed the bell to go back to class. And like
Oh shit.
we look out and realize there's nobody outside. And you're talking about like a grade wide recess. So, you kind of miss a couple hundred kids, And so we look out and we haul ass. We run back to our class because we're all in the same class. And the fucking teacher's freaking out, yells at us. We get sent to the principal's office or vice principal. The principal never actually did shit in our school. It's just the vice principal. And came up with a fairly unique punishment to embarrass us, because we wanted to act like children. We already were children, but
Right.
they were acting more like kids. They sent the 3 of us back to kindergarten for one day as punishment.
Wow.
So they made us go back to a kindergarten class and sit through the whole damn thing.
Did you have to sit in the little tiny chairs at the little round tables?
No, we actually basically had to sit on the floor because, of course, we're bigger than almost everything else. But we were given to who was widely known as the biggest bitch of a fucking kindergartner teacher. I remember this bitch. I was like, oh my god! Like I didn't actually go to kindergarten at that school. I went to kindergarten before we moved. So I knew some of the teachers on the lower end, but I didn't experience any of them. And there was one I was definitely trying to avoid, but this one was just a fucking cunt.
Fuck it, I got nap time.
Yeah, so she's like, she won't even let us sit near each other, so we can't talk to each other. Obviously, we're not really learning anything because it's kindergarten. We basically just have to sit there and be quiet for God knows however many hours the class actually was. And I had a little digital watch, so I'm watching the clock because I know at whatever time we can be dismissed finally. Because kindergarten lets out before the rest of the school, so we would be allowed to at least go back to our class or at least to the principal or whatever. So I'm like looking at my watch, I check the time, and I'm literally like, we got like 10 minutes till the bell. And so like I'm looking at them, I'm like, 10 minutes. And that bitch fucking comes over, grabs my watch, takes it from me so I can't look at the fucking time, forgetting the fact there's a clock on the wall. And then like I have to get my fucking watch back from the principal later on, and she like made me go sit in the corner for the rest of it. It's like, fucking really? Like even at that point, I'm like, if I knew what the word fuck was, I definitely would have said, really, fucking bitch. But yeah, no, that was. But we had to go everywhere the kids went. So if they had a bathroom break, we had to walk with them. So you're talking about like three fucking taller kids walking with them. We had to go to lunch with them. We had to go to recess with them. But of course, at recess, we weren't allowed to do anything. Actually, I think they locked us in a room for recess. But either way, we weren't allowed to do anything or be like, it was just fucking shitty. And of course, we had to walk in front of our classmates who knew what happened, and they're just fucking laughing at us. I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like, fuck that principal for coming up with that. I was like, it was an honest mistake. We were too far away to hear the bell and had no real, like, didn't know what time it was, despite me having a watch, obviously. But
now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. The thing about that is, like, it's messed up the way that punishment was doled out, right? Like, because you didn't deserve it, like you said, right?
Yeah.
But I think that kind of punishment is preferable to like a spanking or something,
getting a whooping,
right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's creative.
It's more creative.
It's
more creative
for sure. But our school was known for doling out whoopings when necessary, and it wasn't deemed a necessary whooping offense, And I don't think they would hit younger kids anyways. I think it was only the older kids that they really got out of line. Like nothing like we did. Basically a non-violent, or it's like we just fucking didn't come back to class in time. It's like it's not like anybody made an effort to come look for us either. That's the shitty part. It's like it had to have been 20 minutes. It wasn't like 5. Like the hallways were clear, everything. So
Shit.
we were gone for a while. So it's like it's kind of like what happened to Sammy getting lost. And it's like, did nobody check that all the kids even came back? I mean,
yeah.
Like our teacher must have noticed that we weren't there and called down to the principal, but like we figured out that we were missing and ran all the way back. Luckily, the doors weren't locked because that would have sucked. They started locking the doors after a while, so you couldn't get back in unless you went all the way around to the front door, which would have been difficult at that point.
Yeah. Did you guys all go to like Catholic schools and stuff?
No.
Public.
No.
School,
Straight up
public school.
Yep.
Went to regular public school, but that the whooping school was in Cloverdale, Alabama.
Cloverdale, Alabama.
That's
Cloverdale, Alabama.
The reason I ask is because for most of my schooling, I went to, Catholic and Christian schools, except for like the last 2 years of high school and college. And well, I guess in high school and college, you're not going to get spanked, right? But
or you can if you're into that BDSM kind of thing.
If your dean is spanking you, it's because they're trying to get a free way through college.
By the time you're in college, you're kind of into it,
Right.
Just remember.
Exactly.
Just remember, it ain't gay when you're in a 3-way.
Facts. Hashtag facts.
I don't know that
reminds me of
this.
I want to share a quick story too, really quick about an embarrassing story that happened to me when I was a little bit older in high school, right? So, really quick. So I was in high school at this point. This was like sophomore year in high school. I went to a high school in Newark called St. Benedict's Prep. It was just a really, fancy, expensive high school run by Benedictine monks, right? Like they would legit wear the frocks and everything, right? But they cursed up a storm too. It was weird. Like they would curse a storm, but they were cool, like most of them anyway. But we had this thing every morning. We had a convocation, and and this was Newark, right? So there was a lot of everybody, you know, trying to be flashier than everybody else. Like my sneakers are better than others. Like Paul Hughes had mentioned in the chat earlier about, you know, freaking British Knights and all of that stuff.
British
Yeah,
Knights,
so
I
yeah.
hear.
that was always, you know, part of competition and everything like that. So what the headmaster, his name was Father Ed. I'll never forget him. He was the coolest dude ever too, and he looks exactly the same as he did back in high school. I still keep in touch with him on Facebook. It's crazy. Yeah, it's nuts. He in his wisdom, right, he was like, okay, now we're gonna do this thing. Well, I guess not necessarily wisdom, it's kind of common sense, but this we're gonna do this thing where everybody wears the same outfits, right? And it's an all boys high school. Everybody wears the same outfits, you know, on, you know, different days you wear this. Our colors were maroon and gray. On, you know, Wednesday you wear maroon, on Tuesday you wear gray, whatever, alternating, right? So if people didn't wear the right colors on the right day, they would, you know, be in trouble, right? Quote unquote. And trouble consisted of like, you know, in-school suspension or whatever. And, you know, me and a few of my friends, there were like 6 of us, we were like a little clique. And we were just like, fuck that, man. We're bucking the system. Like, our gear is too fresh. Like, we ain't finna conform. You know what I mean? So,
fuck the system.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, we just, you know, one day we were at convocation and, like, we just totally didn't have the right clothes on. So, you know, Father was like, you know, you guys got to go. Like, we're sending you home to change your clothes and come back. So we decided, right, there were 6 of us actually. There were 6 of us. We decided that instead of going home to change, we would go all the way across town to the sister school of us, right? So it was St. Benedict's, right? We had St. Benedict's, and then there was Benedictine Academy, right? All the way on the other side of town. So we took a couple buses and shit. Like, none of us were old enough to drive at this point. So we finally got there, and we're wearing our, you know, basically our high school uniforms, but, you know, our sneakers were like, you know, fresh, like, you know, whatever,
Yeah.
not regulation, you know what I mean? So you couldn't tell us shit, you know, a bunch of little, 15, 16-year-old boys, you know, whatever. So one of the guys who is actually at the time a fairly prominent councilman in Newark, his son, he decided to go because he had clout, right? Like, everybody knew his dad. So he went to the he went to the gate for the school, and they're like, no, like, get out of here. Fuck you thinking? Like, come on, beat it. So, you know, obviously they didn't let us in. So we decided, and this was so our school was in Newark, and the other sister school was in Elizabeth, which is like the next town over. But it was on the edge of town, so it was basically like right across the street from Newark. You know what I mean? The edge of Newark. So we're walking in Elizabeth, you know, on our way back to Newark to the bus stop, 6 dudes, and we decided to go into a bodega real quick. And, you know, we all paying for everything. Everybody's paying for everything. And there was just me and one dude left, this kid named Mike. Mike was a little rough. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, this is Newark. You feel me? So, everybody leaves, and just me and Mike. So I got my little honey buns or whatever, and I get to the counter, and Mike's, you know, he's got all this stuff on the counter, and he lifts up his shirt, and he exposes like this starter pistol, and he's like, "Yo, you're not gonna." And he tells the guy, he's like, "We're not getting anything for free." And I looked at him, and I was like, "Bro, what the f you doing? Like, come on, get out of here!" And I pushed him, and I'm apologizing profusely to this, like, please don't shoot us, like, you know, let's go. We're out of here. It was a Jewish dude too, like he was clearly Jewish, like yarmulke and everything. So,
right. Like a
so we're like,
Jew?
please. Yeah, exactly. So we were like, please don't kill us. Like, I was like, please don't shoot us. Like, I'm sorry, you know, so pushing them out. So we walked maybe like 2-3 blocks. Whoop, whoop, whoop. 5-0 said freeze. 5-0 said freeze. So guns to our heads, like, freeze, like literally steel at my temple. Like, you know, so they lock us up, they take us downtown. Come to find out, you know, stories all check out, and it was just him. So, you know, they released us to our parents. Actually, they released us to the school, and the school called our parents.
Damn.
And my dad was like, nah, y'all could keep him. Like, let him, you can stay. Like, go ahead. So what happened was the gym teacher, his name was Mr. Green. He took all 6 of us except for Mike, because Mike was in jail for pulling a starter pistol, right? He was in lockup or whatever. And they had us stay literally overnight at school holding Bibles at arm's length for as long as we possibly could.
Oh,
And every time our arms would fall, they would like whoop, ruler to the elbow. You know what I mean? So
whip it again.
Damn.
Yeah. And then the next day, we all had to, at convocation, we had to stand in front and apologize to everybody and tell our story and people were just snickering and like, you fools. It was the worst.
Damn. So I got one more small story, and I can go really, really quick. It's a childhood thing. I just remembered his delinquency thing totally set off my little kind of delinquency thing. And so the year I moved back from Alabama, I moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I moved back in the middle of the year, so I was like the new kid, and I used to get picked on a lot. Oh, hey, new kid, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's already in their cliques and stuff. This was 7th grade, and there's 2 Mexican kids who used to always give me shit all the time, even though I didn't have any problem with them or anything. But
that's weird because you almost look Mexican.
Yeah, I'm a white boy, Irish, Scottish. Yeah, but
say he does not look Mexican.
I know. I'm being silly. He doesn't look Mexican at all.
But back then, when I was younger, my hair was like blonde. It didn't darken up until I was like 8th grade. It could be like a year later. But I was like blonde hair, blue eyes, little fresh kid. I remember I had this like that day. I had this. We went to Dollywood on our way back to Santa Fe. We stopped in the Smoky Mountains. And went to Dollywood. I had this like Dolly Parton shirt on, like so like I was like the kid with the Dolly Parton shirt on.
Dude, that's like 3 hours away from where I live. Dollywood is.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know whose bright idea was to put a row of payphones next to the lunchroom inside a middle school, because kids were always prank calling on these things and doing stupid shit. Well, these 2 dumbass kids that used to pick on me and shit all the time, they called 911, and I happened to be walking to lunch at that time, walking up to the line, and they're like, hey Sammy, we're gonna get you, orale. And I'm like, what? I'm like, fuck you, Ray and Marcos. And they're like, I didn't know what happened, all right? So I ate lunch, hung out with my friend Oliver, and, he was this little black kid that, he was also new that year, so me and him clicked. It was like us two, and this kid with cerebral palsy we hung out with. So we're like little misfits, right? We just all played D&D and stuff together. But all right. So anyway,
So wait a minute, you guys were actually the coolest kids in school then? In that case,
yeah,
right?
we were. That was before it was cool to be a nerd or geeky. And so anyway, I'm walking back to my science class. I'm sitting in science, and he gets halfway through his thing, and then he gets a call on his phone in the classroom. He answers it. He's like, okay, all right. And he said, Sam Perryman and Oliver Hand, you need to go to I'm going to be walking you to the I'm going to be walking you outside. I'm like, okay, what did I do? I didn't do anything. I asked him. And then there was 2 armed SWAT officer outside going through our lockers, and there was 2 armed officers getting me and my buddy in handcuffs. 2 little kids in handcuffs, escorting us down to the office. We were sitting there in the they had this like conference room for the teachers. We're sitting there, and they was just grilling us like, where are all the guns? I'm like, what are you talking about? And they said, we got a call in, said that you had guns and that you had firearms and you had bombs in your locker and you were flashing a gun at lunch. I said, no, I don't have any. And I started crying. I'm like, I don't have anything. And then Oliver's like started crying, and then they called our parents. And then my mom came down, and she's like, "What are you doing to my son? My son's an angel." My mom had this thick Southern accent. She's like, my baby's an angel. He would never do anything. He is a good boy." And I was like,
bless his heart.
and then Oliver just started crying. Like, he was quiet the whole time, just started crying. He was like, "My mama's gonna kick my fucking ass." And Oliver used to get teased a lot because he was half black and half white. So like they used to pick on his ass because of that. And his mom came and she was like, "Oliver, what the fuck are you doing? Blah 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 blah. What did you do?" And I was like, "I don't have anything. I'm not again." And then I was like, then I just remembered. I'm like, "Nah, fuck that." It was Ray and Marcos that called, and so they go and drag their asses out of there. They start yelling at them about stuff, not to play on the phones and stuff. They suspend all of our asses. I had to go to court and for some shit I didn't even do. And they were calling me and Oliver, the Columbine brothers, the rest of the year.
Oh shit! Wow.
Jeez.
Wait a minute. How long ago was this? This was after
this
99,
was
obviously, but
no, this was about 7th grade. I was about
Early
I
2000s.
just turned 13 that summer, so yeah, I was 13 years old.
Damn.
But they were calling.
So you got swatted before the digital age.
Oh, I got swatted like serious.
That's horseshit, man.
Damn.
You got punished for
Scary.
something that never happened. Those motherfuckers
Right.
should have been in jail for fucking calling in a false report like that. Especially
Yeah.
post Columbine. Fuck those guys.
Yes.
Those kids got freaking cleanup duty. They had to follow the janitor around the rest of the year
Nice.
after they got back from suspension and everything, and they had to go to court for it and pay a lot of money.
I
I
hope
had a court hearing. I didn't have to go into the actual court room as those two kids do. So me and Oliver got off pretty easy since we were not
Guilty.
not the culprits. Yeah.
Not guilty in that
Yeah.
one.
Good
We
Damn,
lord.
weren't the
That's
culprits.
fucking crazy.
But it was just because one dumbass kid or two dumbass kids are fucking around on some payphones, you know?
Sounds like some
They're-
racist
they're-
ass kids.
They were pretty racist.
It sounds like they don't like you because you're white. That's terrible.
They didn't like me because I was white. They didn't like Oliver because he was half
Mixed.
black and white. So I
That's
don't know.
confused little kids.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're just
Confused
little
kids.
shitheads.
That's fucking shitty. All right, so let's
Yeah.
move off of childhood here. Actually, Ryan, did you ever go?
I didn't. No.
Okay, you didn't have anything.
But you guys,
You're
you guys
apparently
were
not
talking
embarrassed.
about. Well, you guys were talking about teachers hitting kids and stuff, and it reminded me of 3rd grade. We were dismissed for recess, and we're walking out, and I try to open the door to go outside, and the door won't open. So I'm like, "What the hell?" Then I hear some kids like laughing and stuff, and I'm like, "Okay, they're messing with me." So I really shove it. Well, then they weren't standing there, so I fall through right under my face.
Yeah.
And everyone's laughing, 3rd grader, everyone's laughing at me. So I get up, and it was this kid, Caleb, holding the door shut. So I get up, and I slap his ass right in the face. I mean, like a proper bitch slap. Right to the bam!
As one
Dude.
does. Yeah.
Dude, out of nowhere, this giant hand from behind me slaps me in the face. I mean, hard, dude.
God damn.
Hard. I turn around. It's his mom who would volunteer.
Wow.
She would volunteer, during recess on the playgrounds at the school.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her, and I don't know what to do, right? Like, this chick just freaking hit me, and I'm looking at her. She's looking at me, and we're just both like stone face, and surrounded by kids looking at us, and I freaking turn around and walk away. I don't know what to do. Right?
Yeah, it's like
this
that's-
is full grown. So that followed me until I graduated high school. There, if stuff was going down, if there's gonna be a fight, it'd be like, oh, just get Caleb's mom to beat his ass.
Oh, fuck.
That was
That's
once.
so foul.
Yeah.
I fucked her.
And,
since then.
looking back, I mean, she could have been arrested. I mean, this was like the late '80s probably. So
Yeah.
even then,
Well,
that
back
kind of
then you
stuff
could
wasn't
whip someone else's kid if they did something wrong, but odds are she didn't see what started in the first place. She just sees you hitting her kid.
right.
You
I
know.
just slapped the shit out of him, and then
Yeah, she just
she
heard the
did the
slap. Like,
same to
what?
me. Yeah.
That's awesome. Actually, that's a good segue into the next one, which is we'll do a combo here just to speed things along. So we're gonna do property damage / injuries.
Oh boy.
Yes. So since you got your ass fucking slapped like a motherfucker, and then your pride was injured for fucking ever.
Yeah.
But I'll tell a quick one real quick of property damage, which I'm not very guilty of in my life. I don't really like to ever fuck with anybody's stuff or anything like that. I usually break my own stuff more than anything. But in this case, I kind of broke my parents' stuff. We were trying to put up a new antenna, TV antenna, which living out in the country, you gotta fucking do occasionally. You ain't got cable or nothing like that. My brother's over there, so it's me, him, my dad. And we got to drop the old one, which is on a fucking 30-foot long pole strapped to the side of the house. We got to lower it down, swap it out, and crank it all the way back up. So somebody had to be inside to pull the cable up. So I run back inside, run way up into the attic, and I'm going to pull the cable. And I'm looking for it, and I see it, and it's laying there. So I'm walking across the joist. And we've laid down plywood, almost, a good false floor to walk around on up there. And I'm about to the cable. I'm reaching over and like, okay, I can't quite get it. So I take one more step on what I believe to be a double joist, like all the other ones, but it wasn't.
Uh-oh.
It was a single. It was a single joist, and I think I was. I had to have been like 17 or 18. I don't remember, somewhere in there. I was either in my late teens or very early 20s, college age. Basically, I fell through the fucking ceiling. So here I am, and it happened so damn fast I had no clue what was going on. All I felt was my foot go, and then all I know is I'm hanging like this. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so these are the joists just right in my armpits. I'm stuck like this, and I'm like, oh goddamn, where? Like I think I'm just dangling, and so I'm like kicking my feet, and then I look down, and I'm actually directly over our guest bedroom bed. So actually, just I dropped myself down, which was only like 6 inches, but I get down and I'm fucking hurt. My sides are scraped up from falling through. There's a fucking 4-foot fucking hole in the ceiling. And, sheetrock everywhere. And so, like, I gather my shit together. I go out the back door to go around to tell my brother and my dad what happened. And I get out there, and my brother's there, and he sees me. He's like, what the hell just happened? And it's like, I tell him. And I'm like, where did Dad go? And he said he heard the noise and went running around the other side. So my dad was going in the front door at the same time I was going going out the back door. And then we hear a noise. Oh, God damn it! And so we run back inside. He had gone inside, saw the hole, and then ran up into the attic to see if I was still there. And his ass fucking puts a foot through the ceiling trying to see what happened. He did the same thing I did, but he caught himself. So now there's a 4-foot hole in the ceiling and a 1-foot hole in the ceiling. No pun intended.
Oh man.
So you basically come from a line of stuntmen, right?
Kind of. I've fallen quite a few times in my life. That was one of the first major incidences in my young adulthood.
Oh man.
But that was embarrassing just because one is like, fuck, I just destroyed this fucking ceiling. It's just like, and I had the image of myself. If somebody was there I think my mom was at work, but if somebody had been in there and just seen my ass dangling from the fucking ceiling, just my feet and legs hanging down, it was like, that was like the pure comedy gold that somebody else could have had. But like, it immediately alleviated some of my embarrassment, knowing my dad did the same fucking thing right behind me. And it's like, yeah, by the way, we should probably fix that joist so that there's actually a double joist in case we ever have to walk through there again. But that was pretty fucking bad. And, I mean, it's not too bad to have to patch some drywall, but, that was definitely something we weren't planning on with that kind of property damage. Oh,
Damn.
shit.
Well, I got one for property damage. All right, so when I was, let's see, I don't know. Okay, so I was probably like 18 or 19 when I first got my first apartment. Um, it was like a duplex kind of. Well, not, I don't know if you call it a duplex, but it's one of those things where it's like is it split level?
Yeah.
Where there's like half of the house, and then the other half of the house is like was the owner.
Yeah, it's either
That's
duplex or split
duplex.
level. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. So it was a split level house, and the owner was just such a dick. You know, you couldn't like sneeze without him coming over and banging on the door like a cop. And he was an asshole. And like I remember I was like taking a shower, and one time he came over just like banging, banging, banging. He's like, "What are you doing? Are you building something in here? Blah 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 blah. What are you doing?" And like, he'd like, man, it really sucked. And I found out that he was going in there and like going through our stuff. So when we weren't home, yeah, he's going through our stuff when we weren't home, and I noticed like my girlfriend at the time, some of her underwear was gone.
Damn, you want to
But-
talk about the only
but I
lawsuit?
But I couldn't prove anything. I couldn't prove anything because he had a key to the house.
Yeah.
Right. So I couldn't prove a damn thing. I wasn't
Yeah, that's
around
true,
when
that's
he was
true.
doing it.
Yeah, that's
So I
true.
didn't have video or anything.
Mm.
And so anyway, before I moved out, what I did was I cut about a foot square in the wall that was connected to his bedroom.
Mhm.
And I stuck a Cornish hen in there, and I sealed it back up and repainted the wall and everything.
Wait a minute,
And-
time out. Wait. Repeat that sentence.
Not a living one.
No, not a living one. Not a living one. It was
No,
from a
I know.
grocery store. From a grocery store.
No doubt. I didn't think you were that savage.
So I stuck this Cornish hen in there, and by the time I was moving all my stuff out, I already moved my stuff out, and I like bailed on it and everything. I was like, I'm not paying that guy a damn thing more because of all the shit he's put us through. And
Oh god.
every time he'd come over to fix stuff, he'd always like follow me around the house and stuff, and just like be real creepy. I'm like, what the fuck? So I
Well, he
stuck
was
this
wanting to
Cornish-
smell your underwear and see if he should start stealing it too.
Probably, yeah, he probably wanted that too. He's probably wearing mine. He's like,
So-
oh, his fits, or hers I can put to my woman vagina box collection.
I like
Gotta
how
keep
you
under
hit
my
him with
bed.
I like how you hit him with the old Edgar Allan Poe revenge plot. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Instead of the heart, I stuck a
Cornish hen.
supermarket Cornish hen in there and let it rot for him. He couldn't figure it out. He was calling me. He's like, "Did you guys have a pet that died in here? Blah blah blah. I think you guys left a cat. I think you guys left a cat here, and it went into the crawl space." I'm like, "No, we didn't have any animals."
Dude, at some point though, there'd be juices coming out of the wall.
Yeah.
I
God.
would, dude, I'm telling you, man, I would have taken like cans of tuna and opened and shoved into vents and all kinds of stuff.
Ooh.
I think I
Fuck
took a
that.
dump in the
Get-
top of the tank
Get
too,
some
but
fish,
Upper
some
deck.
beef.
That's the
But-
old school drop the fish.
But that's the worst thing I think I've ever done. But I think the guy like deserved it for sure.
Yeah, I guess that
and-
might have been embarrassing for him.
Yeah. I
Oh
mean,
god,
like,
how did he ever get that place re-rented? That smell would never go away.
his place too, though, because
Yeah.
he could smell it in his walls. You know what I mean? The dead ass animal.
God damn, that's nasty. That's
Right.
fucking nasty, man.
Yeah. I was like, screw you, man.
Yeah. Shit.
yeah, nasty but impressive all at the same
Yeah,
time.
you must have watched some kind of movie leading up to that. They gave you that idea.
Actually, somebody told me that somebody's dad told me okay. He's like, oh, this is what we did back in the 60s. I'm like, oh,
Sure.
good idea. No, he's like, no. Here's what you do. You cut a foot long, foot high, foot wide hole in the wall, replace it, and use the spackle and everything, make it look like there's nothing there.
Fuck.
All right, well, whatever works.
I guess, man. I mean, if you got it,
Jeez.
we're gonna have to do a whole revenge. We're gonna have to do a revenge fucking podcast at some point. Jesus.
I don't feel proud about it anymore, but I mean, it's. I don't feel proud about it, but I think that's probably like the worst thing I ever did.
Damn. Yeah, that's.
You should take pride. I would feel proud about that. That's fairly creative, man. And
yeah,
well,
take some pride in it. Yeah.
I feel pride. I feel like I got my just revenge.
Yeah,
but
I would say so.
Yeah.
But I get you. You're a nice guy, so yeah, it eats at you.
Right. It's like, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
No, you should have.
You should. Why didn't you do that to fucking? Was it Carlos and Ray or whatever their names were? Those fuckers. They deserve that shit. Ugh.
Well, you guys, my property damage story is a little more malicious.
It's supposed to be embarrassing.
The Cornish game hen thing is pretty gross, but mine is really illegal. So
his name is Ryan Farnham.
Wait, before you tell anything legal, you might want to look up the statute of limitations.
You might want to. Yeah, you might.
This is way past.
Some federal shit doesn't ever go away.
Yeah, it does. I know, right?
It's been 17 years.
Well, don't give any actual names or places.
No, I won't.
Right.
I'll just say
secrets.
I'll just say there was this bar that would serve us drinks when I was 18, 19. They didn't care. And so me and a buddy were out drinking. And like a couple of 19-year-old geniuses, we go back to my truck where I had parked. And we had parked in between two driveways, and there was just enough room for two cars. So I was butted up right against the car behind me, and then there was a driveway. Well, someone in a Vespa parked right in front of me, like an inch from my bumper. There was no way for me to get out. Well, there was. And so my buddy's like, well, let's just pick up the Vespa and move it. And I was like, nah, man, just get in the truck. I can make it. And so we get in the truck, and I put it in drive, and I nudged forward a little bit and hit it and knock it over. And he's like, oh, my buddy Jared, he's like, oh my God, dude, you stupid. What are you doing? And I look at him and laugh, and I just punch it and drive over the thing and take off.
Dick.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. The guy in the Vespa was a dick for parking like that. I mean, come on.
I was gonna say. I mean, it is a Vespa. I mean,
well, yeah, but you literally, the two of you could have moved it.
Yeah.
Some of those Vespas can be really expensive, especially the Italian ones. Wow.
If I remember right, it wasn't very nice.
I mean, if it was just a shitty moped, okay.
Well, not after you drove over it.
Well, yeah,
it was nice.
It was nice at one point.
What kind of truck?
I remember when I was
I had a Nissan pickup.
Oh, okay.
I remember when I went out drinking with a friend of mine, and he lived downtown Albuquerque, and I was about 22, 32 now, and about 22, a year after I started drinking. I don't really drink anymore, but about a year after, there was this Vespa sitting like right in front of my friend's door, and my friend's like really shit-faced drunk, and he ends up whipping it out and just like pisses all over it, and for some reason it triggered my gag reflex, so I puked on him and the Vespa, and it splattered all over the Vespa. And dude, like I would hate. And we went inside my friend's house and like just hung out. And we were like, back then I used to hang out all night and up until the early morning and shit, and so to get sober and stuff. And in the morning, about I don't know, 8 or 9 a.m., I hear, What the fuck? Who the hell? Who threw up on, pissed all over my Vespa? Who in God's name pissed and threw up all over my Vespa? So yeah, that's my Vespa story.
Your Vespa story is triggering my gag reflex.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
yeah.
pretty damn bad. Well, I mean, if
Yeah,
you're
it's
that
pretty-
drunk, just the smell of piss would have been like, yeah.
The sight of his wang and the smell of piss made me throw up. Yeah.
See, Ryan, what you should have done was pissed and thrown up on the Vespa first, then ran it over. I guess you didn't know Sammy.
Yeah.
He would have helped you out there.
Right.
I would have, yeah, I would have like shit on it or something for you, you know.
Then Ryan would
When
have
in
shit on
Rome,
his truck.
do what we do, right?
When in Rome, fuck someone else's shit up.
When in Rome, take a shit on a Vespa.
This has suddenly turned into, what did you do to a Vespa?
Right.
All right, what about injuries? Anybody got some stupid injury stories?
Yeah, I got a stupid injury story.
Well, let somebody else go.
Oh yeah. All right.
I mean, you're asking the guy with one leg if he's ever had any
Well,
stupid fucking injuries.
That's a different story. No, if you lost it in an embarrassing manner.
Well, of course I did.
I
Wink,
guess that's
wink,
true.
nudge, nudge.
But they know that story.
Which one?
Well, the one how you lost your leg.
They don't know the real story though.
Oh, okay, the real story.
Yeah.
Huh?
No,
oh,
it's just
is this the Paul Harvey segment? The rest of the story.
That's the
And
rest of the
this
story.
is
I remember
the
that old
rest
dude.
of the story.
No, I didn't lose it in an embarrassing fashion, but I just like to make up different excuses to strangers when they stare or ask. But no,
Yo,
one time
you're like literally one of the few guys I know who uses his injury to get pussy. yeah.
And then he involves it
lost
in the
my leg
actual.
Yeah, he'd be like, I lost my leg in a tiger attack in Laos. Like,
No. My wife, she ain't gonna fall for that. She was there. But yeah, like I remember the day they were releasing me from the hospital, they were giving me this girl come in to give me an EKG, and I had I'm allergic to eggs, so of course they had an allergy band. It's just a red band that said allergy on it. She looks down at me, and it's the South, so of course she prefaces everything she says with honey. She's like, honey, you look like you've had a rough week. I was like, yeah. Hell, I was like, nodded my head down there towards my leg. It's like it's a bee sting. And she was like, oh, my Lord, bless your heart. She's like, yeah. I was like, see, I'm allergic to bees. This band shows I got a bee allergy. I'm allergic to bees. It stung me and my leg fell off. And she's like, that's absolutely awful. And then Misty was sitting there. She's like, he's full of shit. Don't listen to him. But yeah, I'll make up stories all the time. But like an actual legit injury I had one time, and this actually happened when I was 8 years old. I used to go roller skating when I was a kid, and my mom would drop.
A joke there.
Okay, there is.
Used to be an operative word. Yeah, but now you can actually have it built in.
Yeah.
Built-in roller.
But yeah, she would drop me off and then come back and get me a few hours later, because the owners, they were pretty good at looking, they didn't let a lot of bullshit go on there. Well, I was out there and I couldn't skate great, but I was still doing it because, it was fun, and I fell. And this dude, big dude, like really, really big dude, rolled over top of my right hand with his skates when I fell. And it actually shattered and crushed my pinky finger and my ring finger on my right hand.
Are you serious? Wow.
It fucking hurt. And I didn't know that it was broken. I just knew that it hurt, and I didn't want to skate anymore. And I took my skates off and I turned them in, and I was just like, man, my hand really fucking hurts. Well, the next day, and I told my mom, I was like, I fell and somebody ran over my hand. And it's like, well, you'll be all right. And then the next day, my hand's really swollen up. And I remember I was fucking watching cartoons. It's Saturday morning. And she's like, you need to go and do this. I was like, I can't because I can't move my hand. It hurts. She's like, oh, you've just stubbed your finger. You know, and she grabs my hand and she's like, well, maybe it's out of place. And she's trying to jam my finger back in the socket.
Oh, this is
Oh,
making me
Lord.
hurt right now.
I'm
This is
screaming and I'm in tears. And she thinks there's nothing wrong with you. Get out here and do this and this.
Mm.
Good Lord.
Oh, my
Finally,
God.
Monday, I'll go to school. And the teacher's like, you need to, you know, do your work. I was like, I can't write. I can't hold a pencil. And they're like, what are you talking about? It's like, I hurt my hand and it's really hurting. Well, did you go to the doctor? No. My mom wouldn't take me. She thought I was faking. So the school nurse, she's like, your hand is broken. I can look at it and tell that it's broken. You need a doctor. I'm like, what? So my mom had to come and get me at school and take me to a doctor. Sure enough, my hand's broken in multiple places. Fingers are fucking shattered. They're going to have to. They said they needed to reset those two fingers with pins so they'll grow properly and straight, but didn't have the insurance to cover it, so they just set it with a hard cast. And now I got a fucking crooked ass pinky finger with a knuckle on the side.
Oh
Now,
my
But
God.
yeah, it sucks, man.
damn.
Yeah, that sounds
That's
pretty
terrible.
ouch.
Yeah, no, the terrible part was my mom was like, oh, you're not hurt. And she's just trying to jam that finger back into
Oh
place.
God.
I'm
Yeah,
like, I
that
hate
part
you
had me.
right
That part was
now.
cringe. That part had me cringing. So, like, when she found out that you, in fact, did break your,
She didn't apologize.
Jesus.
oh
She was
man,
she was pissed because she didn't have any manual labor for 8 weeks.
Yeah,
Oh,
I can see that.
man.
My mom was a cunt, man.
Dude, I have a.
Mm.
I've been lucky in my life. I've never managed to break anything, despite some of the really, really dumb shit I've done. But my mom did something very similar to me when I had a severely sprained ankle. Like I could not walk on the motherfucker, and it was actually kinked. Like the tendons were so tight, my ankle was actually kinked. And she tried to reset it, so to speak, because she thought maybe it was dislocated. So you're talking about my tendons are froze solid from how, and so she just puts my foot up on the table, and I'm basically begging her no, and she just grabs it and she goes, "Nyeh!" and fucking twists it the other direction to see if that'll fix it.
Oh yeah,
God.
of course.
I am
Mm.
about. That's the closest I've ever been to passing out from pain in my life.
Yeah.
God, and to this day, I don't actually know how my ankle got fucked up. I woke up that way, so I don't know what happened in the middle of the night that I, fucking did that to myself. But
Oh,
I couldn't imagine fucking
Dude.
having your hand broken that way and all that. God damn.
That wasn't even the worst injury. When I was,
Oh wait, that's worse. It gets worse. Oh,
it gets
oh my
worse.
God.
Dude,
Well, he
a few
lost the
years
leg.
later. Oh no, this was the other leg. A few years later, I was a little bit older. I was playing
The other
football.
leg.
I was playing football. I was a few years older, and I can't remember what happened, but something happened and my hip started hurting. I was like, "Ow!" And everybody's just like, "Quit limping. You're fine. You're just faking it," because nobody ever believed that you got hurt
Mhm.
when you're younger. It's like you're just faking that shit. No, I'm fucking hurting. I'm limping everywhere. And once again, the school nurse, she sees how I'm walking, and she's like, "There's something wrong with your leg." I was like, "I've been telling everybody that for 3 months. I was still playing football, and in pain and in agony." And the nurse is like, she calls my mom. She's like, "You need to take him to get his leg checked out. He's in a lot of pain." She's like, "No, he's just faking it, trying to get out of work around the house."
Yo, there's just so much irreparable damage
That's
that's being
so
caused
fucked
right now
up.
with this story, bro. Like,
Right?
Well, my grandmother was in from South Carolina at the time, and she was staying. This is over Christmas break. They heard me like in my sleep in my room. I'm crying in my sleep and crying out and yelling in agony and pain in my sleep.
aw.
And
I'm sad now. I'm legit sad, bro. As a
she was-
father, I'm like sad.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
man.
and she's like, "There's something wrong with him." She's like, "Oh no, it's just growing pains or this and that." She's like, and I told her, I was like, "No, I've been telling her for months that I've been in pain. my grandmother talked her into taking me to a doctor. We go to a doctor, and we went to an orthopedics, but he referred us to an orthopedic specialist. And we get up there, he sees how I'm walking, he says, "Don't take a step." And it's like, "What?" He's like, "Don't take another step." And he has a nurse bring a wheelchair, and he sits me down. He's like, "You need to go for X-rays immediately." I was like, "What's going on?" Now I'm starting to get scared. I'm a 14-year-old kid. The hip is a ball and socket joint.
Mm-hmm.
My hip joint had become dislocated, and the ball was on the edge of the socket, and there was about 3 millimeters of space where it was grinding, and if I had shifted the wrong way, it would have gone shot straight up. And just ripped my intestines inside out and everything. I was that close.
What the
Jesus
fuck, bro?
So they're like, "You can't walk. You are confined to this chair. You're getting emergency surgery today. When's the last time you had anything to eat?" I was like, "An hour ago." And they said, "Well, you're going to have emergency surgery in 7 hours because they don't want you to eat anything within 8 hours of getting anesthesia."
Yeah, they don't want you to. Yeah.
So they had to do emergency hip repair on me when I was 14. Is like put my hip back in the socket and then bolted into place with pins.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it sucked.
Holy crap.
At 14.
Wow.
You're still fucking growing.
Yeah.
I can't imagine
You
being
fucking
a
lazy
parent
bastard,
and
man.
like
I was playing football on that shit.
Yeah, bro. Like, you're a savage, bro. Like, and I mean that in a good way, right? No. I don't mean it like,
No.
I mean,
This is why Josh was walking in less than 2 months after losing his leg.
No, it wasn't 2 months.
It's because he's using his big wiener as a kickstand.
God damn it, Dakota made it in.
No, it wasn't that quick of a time. I wish it had been, but of course, I had that fall like 3 days after I had my sutures removed and busted it back open.
Thought he was going to say it wasn't that big of a wiener.
So the healing time took a little bit longer for that. So that sucked. But it was 2 weeks after I got my prosthetic that I did go to TFCon and was walking around everywhere on that thing. So that was awesome.
Dude,
I was exaggerating.
Surprised you haven't started sprouting a leg back because of that super special energy drink.
If she's in resting, I'm calling her on a bullshit.
I want to be there for that. I will be there for that, so that'll be fun. All right, Dakota, since you just finally jumped in, you got any embarrassing injury stories?
Or injury stories,
or dumbass shit that got you injured?
Yeah. I got some. This is gonna take us back to the elementary years of fat little Dakota. So I've always had problems hurting my head. Yes. Fat tall. When I was 7, I was running down a hallway at the school that I was going to with my shoes untied knowingly. And I feel like 7, you're old enough to know better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I tripped and fell and, big concussion, blah, blah, blah. Scraped my arm up. My mom came in and looked at me like I was disfigured because I was. I had a knot the size of a golf ball in my head. And I was like, well, that's it. She doesn't love me anymore. And
no, that's Josh.
So anyways, like that.
Yeah.
That all got got whatever. I still have a little lump on my head to this day. Like next time any of us are in person, I'll be happy to show everyone my little lump, my lovely lady lump.
Let's see your lump, girl.
Oh, baby.
Don't.
So
just don't.
In the 4th grade, I was in a car accident, blah blah blah, and like I woke up several times.
In 4th grade?
Yeah,
I wasn't driving. I was just in the car accident. It was my friend's mom at the time, because
you only had a mom at the time.
No, it was my friend's mom at the time.
I only had one
your
mom
friend.
at the
Your
time.
friend at the time's mom.
My friend at the time's mom. Yeah, dude. If we're gonna be
Fucking
all Master
grammar,
Yoda
bitch.
about it.
This is the internet, not Louisiana.
Yeah, man. This is the South, though. This is the Louisiana South. I was using pretty good grammar, Shea.
Continue.
Pick a card.
You were in his mom's car accident.
I was in his mom's car, and I kept walking. I kept waking up out of my maybe it was a coma, maybe it wasn't. And like in different emergency rooms, I was like, "Where the fuck are we?" And
Wow.
Different emergency rooms. Where the fuck?
different, yeah, because
we
like
can't deal with
the
this
one
one here.
room, the one hospital was just like, no, this is too much, for us. And then like my mom was just like, well, I'll just take him to his pediatrician. The pediatrician was like, no, he needs to go to the big hospital.
After
And,
a car accident. Yeah, just take him to
He
the
needs real
pediatrician.
medicine.
Right. So I'm
Give him some
telling all these
Robitussin.
stories. I'm telling all these stories to get you caught up on my long history of hitting my head. And I was in the 6th grade, and it was art class. And I'm trying to flex on this shorty in the class. You know what I'm saying?
No,
And
I don't.
well, like how did you pick up your wife, Shoky? Were you just like you just handcuff yourself to her and say, all right, you're married to me now?
Pretty much.
How do things work in Texas?
It was the old caveman trick. Hit her with a tree limb and drug her to the cave.
So rape. I
Yeah.
can admire that.
There we go.
Uh,
I flashed those big YouTube
He
books.
said, I can
that's fucked
admire
up.
that.
That's pretty
He
fucked
said,
up.
I can admire that.
hey man, Bill Cosby. So
Bill Cosby.
anyways, I'm flexing, and I've been a fat kid all my life, so there really wasn't much flexing. And I don't know how you can slip on carpet, but I slipped on
Oh.
carpet,
It can be
and
done.
I had my hand on this chair. It was one of those big, like sturdy plastic chairs that, like, not
Yes.
one of those little
I
light
know what
metal
you
ones,
mean,
but
yes.
the Scholastic chairs.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, like it came out from under the desk and hit me right on that same knot. The knot that I've had all my life.
Oh my
It
god.
gave me
Trying to
another
get out.
gave me another concussion.
This is Final
Maybe the knot.
Destination Dakota edition.
It
It's
really
just
is.
trying to kill
It
him
really is.
from that spot only.
And then a year later, I was eating some Mexican food, and we just got done. It was me and my grandma. I opened the car door, and boom, right in the same spot, dude. Just big,
What the fuck?
Crown
What
Victoria
is that?
steel door. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh man, this is why you black out on the toilet after eating spicy food.
Dude,
We
you have
found the reason.
terrible luck.
Oh my god.
dude.
dude.
Also, yeah. Anytime I eat anything spicy, like I can, like going down, like I'm good. Like keeping it in my belly, I'm good. But dude, on the toilet, it is like it's a mystery.
Oh my god.
It's a mystery. Where have I
So-
been?
The
sort
fuck
of thing.
is wrong with your head?
I
I
think
just
It's been
told
hit too
you
many
that
times.
it's been hit so many times that now when he eats
He gets
spicy
punch
food
drunk
after
at this
that day, he blacks out on the toilet when shit.
Dude,
He's
like
gonna
I
get
feel,
Two and
I
a
feel
half
like
hours.
You're gonna get knocked out
I
by
f-
an MP Dinobot one of these days.
I feel like I'm one head injury away from being able to like tell the future.
Well, you get the punch card. You hit your head so many times
That
in
or
the same
be a
spot.
paraplegic.
Go for
Dude, it's like
paraplegic.
that's
Go
a
for
gamble. Like that's a
paraplegic.
gamble though. Like maybe I shouldn't be so scared to take. Just like
Hey, he might be the
Uh,
next Bran Stark.
tell everyone's fortunes or drink through a straw until they pull the plug.
Hey,
Oh,
no spoilers,
just-
man. I've not watched it all yet. I'm
No,
on
I'm just
season
making
5.
the joke that he
Yeah.
gets injured.
because-
gets-
but then-
becomes
then my,
paraplegic,
my,
and then
like-
you can see the future.
then all of my female friends will be like, "No, his dick doesn't work. He's in a wheelchair."
That was so no spoilers. But that was fucked up.
I'm going to say right now, just
Yeah.
because you're in a wheelchair, that thing don't stop working. all
No,
right?
but he's
No, but-
paralyzed from the waist down.
Right.
Not he's missing a leg.
Yes.
Yeah. No, either way.
So
Well, it's,
like,
it's
they-
a muscle.
To,
So,
to,
I mean,
it's not that big of a spoiler because
Just
obviously
put a
everybody
pump
knows
on
he's whatever. But for his sister to go, yeah, he can't bear children anyway. So I was like, well, why the fuck do you know that? It's like we tried.
Dude, it's Westeros. Everyone's having sex with
Everyone's
their
having
siblings.
sex with Sansa. Anyways, moving on. Jesus, man, how many times? Okay, never mind. There's the long sad saga of Dakota's head. That one knot. We need to hit it with something final, just to take him out of TF.
Something a little more recent. It does not have anything to do with either of my heads. I was at the doctor's office today because I had a hernia.
that's pretty recent.
Yeah,
really.
I had a hernia and like I had an ultrasound done and all this other bullshit.
a man baby.
But yeah, I went in there and I asked the lady. This was Friday when I had the ultrasound. I said, "What are we gonna name it?" And she was just like, "Lie down on your back, sir." And I was like, "Oh shit, you're one of those." So
You one of them.
We gotta check your temperature, lie on your stomach.
Yeah. She was just like, dude, what's bad is like before that ultrasound, like I had to fart. Like I was about to let one loose in the waiting room.
And they're pushing out.
And speaking of, like in the waiting room, there was this master swordsman. Like you guys know the look, right? Like the I Study the Blade kid.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. I'm jealous of the hairstyle, honestly. I wish I could rock it, but I know I can't. So anyways, like that was Friday. Today is whenever I found those results out. I had to miss a day of work, which I wasn't too pleased with since I just started the new job.
It sucks.
And it's something they could have told me over the phone too. But I go in, they're there and they're just like like bear down like you're trying to take a dump. I was like, do you really want that kind of evil in your life? And she told me she was a student too. I was like, oh girl, you're not even paid to smell this. So anyway,
that's his pickup line in the bar. Girl,
Yeah.
not even paid to smell this.
So
You need to try that line out next time you're in a bar. Just walk over to a girl and say, bear down like you're taking a dump. Let me see that face.
I smell this.
You're not even paid to smell this.
So anyways, like I'm at the hospital and I'm she's asking me all the questions like, do you drink? And I was like, occasionally. May have been a lie. And she was like, okay, do you smoke? And I said habitually. At that point, like I was just like, oh, I need to just light one up right now. But then like, some more questions were being asked and whatever. And she ended up going, okay, here it comes. And I was like, here what comes? Like I'm getting like looking for someone to like chain me up, like, come and grab me real quick just so that way I'm not moving so they can suck this alien thing out of me that they found in the ultrasound they didn't tell me about. And she paused for a minute. She goes, are you biologically a male? I was like, I've never been so fucking insulted.
Wow.
I laughed, man. Honest to God, dude, I laughed. I was like,
Did
no,
you
for
do
real.
the thunderclap?
I was like, I should have.
For
But,
those of you
like,
that aren't aware, the thunderclap is when you have low-hanging fellas and you can smack them up against the inside of your thigh and
It's
claps
like
loudly.
You make your leg do like this whipping action. You do this whip action with your leg, and you'll hear the fellas just pow.
Just hear him clanging.
Oh my god.
No, man, like
I'm
I was
legit gonna try that later.
Dude, yes, do it now.
It's a fun party trick.
Don't
It really
your
is.
ass
Well,
out.
we've already heard about FFA and his short shorts.
Yeah.
He had that problem in his field day. What is that noise?
Hashtag
Sounds like
stereotypically
clapping.
African.
Who's clapping?
Oh my god.
Oh, dude.
Anyways,
so
what is growing inside you?
So no, it was just a piece of fatty tissue that when the muscle separated from the hernia
Yeah.
and they came back, they cut it off, and so it's just lodged in my belly button. So now I have like a partial outie, and I've had an innie my entire life.
Yeah,
And he was like,
Wow.
the doctor was like, if it doesn't bother you, we're not gonna operate. I was like, fuck no, it's cosmetic. Get me out of here.
I can
But no,
paint
so
a
she
face
asked me.
on it.
So she asked me. She was like, "Are you biologically a male?" And after I got done laughing for 45 seconds straight, I was just like, "Oh yeah," because that's when I realized she was serious. She goes, do you prefer male pronouns?" I was like, "Lady, are we really here for this? Like, is this really a thing? Like, this is a children like a women and children's clinic."
Oh,
Like-
okay. That's why.
That's the thing. I'm
Yeah,
not
but
a
you're
woman or a
obviously a-
child.
Yeah, and you're
Well,
obviously male. Like you
they
look
have
like a
to-
guy.
They
Like-
have to. They have to now because of all the lawsuits and stuff. I mean,
I know, man, but like
but
it tripped me out, dude.
I'm sure it was embarrassing, but it's pretty funny though.
Dude, it really was because, like, man, like there was a very attractive woman sitting at the the kind of service desk, and like this door is wide ass open, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, I was like, dude, she asking me this shit because of my man titties, or like, do they really got to know
Is it the man titties, the
Goddamn.
long hair, the effeminate voice?
the fucking full beard, the thick,
Oh, hold
glorious
on. That's
beard?
the problem. That's the problem, though. They don't know anymore.
Yeah, I didn't just tape that shit. I'm not a fucking cute little Japanese lady boy. You know, it's
Dude,
like
I've seen
You're not
videos.
James Charles.
Yeah, there was this one competition a few years ago. It was posted in this one group that I'm in. And it was down in Atlanta, right, where they had a competition for studs, right?
Oh god.
Yo, bruh, when I tell you, and I shit you not, like some of these studs were virtually indistinguishable from men. Like
Stud
it was
as in
crazy.
horse or
I'm
stud
talking
as in person?
No, this is
as in person.
this is
Yeah,
definitely
Okay.
person.
as in a gay masculine female. Like
Oh, okay.
it was crazy. I was like, wow, some of these dudes look like I could be like, yo, let's go play some ball real fast. Like,
Yeah.
let's go play basketball real quick. Like,
Yeah,
it was
I-
crazy.
Do you want to go
the
bench
pose.
press?
I feel bad. We went out to dinner the other night at Buffalo Wild Wings, and they had a college softball game on. And
Love
they
me some softball.
Yeah,
Them the
they-
thickest of chicks.
Yeah. Okay. So there's normal softball thickness, which is everybody I think can appreciate. Then there's the girls like I think you need to put on 30 more pounds to be playing this game. And then there
Yeah,
was
that
this
one.
mountain. There was this mountain of a girl who was on first base, and she had to
Literally
be
the
like
mountain.
6. No, she had to be like 6'5", ginormous chick, and she was and I don't want to be.
Do you don't want to
judgmental.
climb that mountain, Shoky? See, there's
No.
a part of me that would
No.
climb Mount Athletic.
The problem
You know
is,
what I mean?
that from the point of view that the camera was shooting her, I had to go. Did they start letting dudes play this game? Because like
Wow.
when it
Wow.
turned, like she didn't have much in the way of breasts. She just looked like you with a little bit of man titty. And like it wasn't until they panned the camera around and you could
Put
see
my
her
man
long
titty on blast, huh?
ponytail that you could even tell that perhaps she was a girl. I was just like, okay, I know there's a whole lot of trans dude
Athletes.
girls literally switching teams to succeed, but I was like I don't want to be mean, but I even had to ask the wife. I'm like, is
Can we
that a
question this?
girl? I was like, it's like it wasn't until they turned. I was like, damn, like, but she was huge. Like, you wouldn't want to get in her fucking way if she's on a full charge. 'Cause
I
it's
feel
like,
sorry for single people 100 years from now, right? Like I'm
yeah.
totally pro
Yeah.
LGBTQ. Like I'm down for the struggle and all of that kind of stuff. But
I am too. I really am.
I think
But,
it's going to be weird. Like you're going to have some sort. You're going to be like looking for birth certificates on the dance floor. Like,
Dude,
Well,
in
that
100
doesn't do you
years,
any
man,
good
it's
anymore.
weird now. Like, I gotta look. I'm sorry to interrupt, but like, I gotta like look at people's like forearms and be like, all right, those are definitely feminine from birth forearms. Like, I gotta check tendons, bone structure. You know what I mean?
Adam's
Like,
apple.
Mhm.
are the shoulders a little too broad? You know, like
So
there's a lot of shit that I look out for in the single world. You know,
no, we're gonna go
So-
back to Dolly Parton in a minute. Little known fact about Dolly Parton: she lost a Dolly Parton look-alike contest that was at a drag
I
club.
did know this. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
I heard
entirely
that. Yeah,
true.
I
That
heard
is
that.
entirely
Yep.
fucking
Yeah.
true. Let's get back on track just ever so slightly. Get away from the kind of
Yeah.
the slightly more
The hottest of
political
buttons.
things there. Yeah, the hot buttons there. Go back to a little bit of injury story here.
I've
I-
got another one.
Yeah,
I
let me
got-
let me do this one just right quick though, because it's just really dumb, and I still to this day I haven't figured out how I did it. Like I said before, I managed to not break any bones so far in my life. This day I was trying real fucking hard. I'm outside splitting firewood, and we didn't have a good axe, so I'm using a mini sledge and a wedge. Which, if anybody's ever had to split wood that way, is
Oh,
pretty
man.
inefficient, and
Mhm.
Yep.
I had a pretty tough log. It was just really not fucking splitting. And I
I get a
took,
tough log at least 3
Yep.
times a week.
yeah, I know you do. And I take a fucking mighty swing, and I miss
Oh,
the log.
did you hit
but
your
I-
leg?
I hit both of my ankles.
Oh
Ow.
my god!
I flung the
God
the
damn.
sledge between my feet, hit the inside of both my ankles with the fucking
the
hammer.
worst part.
Yeah,
God damn.
I went down. Like, luckily I was standing right next to the steps of the workshop. I fucking like immediately just just hit the fucking ground crying, and nobody was out there. My dad was either mowing or somewhere, nowhere near the fucking me. My mom's at work. It's like, oh my god, dude. Like, I've had some fucked up ankle, like rolled my ankle God knows how many times in my life. That was the worst because just nailed both of those fucking nerves right there, and I didn't know that I could walk. I tried, and
Ugh.
about 20 minutes later, I crawled halfway to the house, and then I fucking managed to stand up and hobble. And I went inside and just grabbed whatever ice was in the fucking freezer, threw it in a towel, and I went and got in my dad's recliner and just fucking piled that shit. And he comes inside. What happened? And I'm like, hammer, ankles.
He looks at you. Wrong kid died.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that is a little fucked
so-
up because my mom did actually lose several babies.
So essentially, what you're saying is you come from a family of failed stuntmen and wannabe frontiersmen, right? That's what you're trying to tell us.
Well, this is what happens when you take a city boy and fucking put him out in the country.
My injury was pretty stupid. It was like old skateboarding injury. Right when I was young,
Oh,
when I
did
was
he lose
younger in
Ryan?
high school, and I right when I learned how to do a
Oh, yeah,
kickflip, and my buddy put me on the spot in front of all the cool kids at the skate park. He's like, "Hey, Sam knows how to do a kickflip now. Do it, Sam. Do it, Sam." And then right when I did it, I fell backwards into the bowl and slid all the way down.
Oh god.
But
yeah.
before I did that, I stepped wrong and sprained both my ankles.
God.
And everybody was just laughing at me, and I was like
Lord.
screaming in pain and like, oh, he's serious. Let's call the ambulance.
Dude,
It's like it's a good thing YouTube wasn't a thing back then, right? Because
Oh yeah,
no,
right,
that was
you'd
yeah,
still be laying
exactly.
there screaming.
that was the early
my
days.
God.
That was the early days where you'd end up on a fucking like just some fucking random page. Like forget YouTube. That was just hey, video
like
of skate injuries.
It was like a fail blog or whatever.
Facesofdeath.com.
Yeah.
Yeah,
E
exactly.
fucked. Yeah.
E-fuck, ugh, gross.
So,
Yeah, that website's terrible.
so we lost
That's
Ryan.
terrible.
He his Wi-Fi died on him, but he's calling it a night.
All right, cool.
So thanks Ryan for coming and
Shout-
joining when you could. Sorry you had to accidentally drop out.
Shout out to the homie.
Yep.
Shout out. Whoop.
All right.
Fucking
hey. What's up, Josh?
Okay, this is kind of an embarrassing one.
Good.
You ever have like an ingrown hair develop into a cyst or anything?
Yeah. A little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Nothing major, but yeah.
I had one do that to me on the inside of my thigh, right next to my sack.
Oh,
What is
And
it
then
with you, like-
Jesus Christ.
I went to work.
so third.
And I
okay,
was,
so
I was, I was
Dakota's got head
delivering-
injuries. You've got fucking lower extremity injuries.
yeah. I don't get hurt unless the shit's below the waist. So, I went to work that morning at 11 o'clock, and I worked until 2 in the morning. This is my pizza delivery job. Madison was like 5 months old. It is September. It's cold as fuck. It's actually like in the 30s in temperature wise. And I get home and I'm in agony because when I went to work, it felt like it was about the size of a pea. When I got off work, all the rubbing, getting in and out of the car and walking
That
around and the
chafing,
rubbing
man.
and that
All that
chafing,
yeah.
it was the size of a goddamn tennis ball.
Oh, fuck.
And it hurt. So I got
Mm.
home and I was like, I've got to pop this thing. I've got to pop this shit. And I took an X-Acto knife and I
Oh,
was
God.
trying to use an X-Acto knife and I couldn't do it. And I looked at Misty and here it is. It's like 2:33 in the morning. And I was like, I've got to go to the ER. I'm going to have to get them to puncture this and drain it.
You couldn't
And-
pop it with the X-Acto knife?
No, it was
Too
no.
deep.
I couldn't even do it.
I didn't know if you couldn't do it because you held back. You
No,
know,
I
because of
wasn't
the pain.
holding back. I wasn't holding back. I couldn't do it. So I go
gotcha.
to the ER. And she's like, "You want me to drive you?" I was like, "No. The baby's asleep. It's cold as fuck. I don't want to get her out 5 months old and close to freezing temperatures in the middle of the night. I'll go. I'll be fine. I'll be back in a little while. Just go back to sleep." So I go. I drive myself to the ER and I limp in. I'm hobbling. And I go inside and register, and they said, "Well, what are you here for?" I was like, "I got a cyst that needs to be drained or something." I was like, "I'm in a lot of pain, and it's in a painful area." So the doctor comes in and looks at it, And she's like, all right, who's your driver? I was like, I don't have a driver. And they're like, what? No, I drove myself down here. And they said, well, why did you do that? I said, because my wife's at home with our newborn and it's 35 degrees outside and it's 3:30 in the morning. And they said, well, we can't give you anything for pain. And I'm like, okay. They said, no, this is going to fucking hurt. So
wait, why?
like,
why couldn't they? Why couldn't
Because
they
he was
give you-
driving himself, they couldn't give him any kind
I drove
of.
myself.
yeah.
They couldn't
Right,
give me
right,
any
right,
narcotics
right.
for the pain.
Gotcha.
They
And
could give him a local, but that's it.
no, they couldn't even do
They
that.
couldn't even give you a
Yeah,
local.
not even that.
Shit.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, so they
Oh, God damn.
they couldn't find a scalpel, the right size scalpel. They had to use a tinier scalpel. So instead of just one incision, it was multiple, like, filleting incisions to get to the point where it was.
It was too.
Now, here's the embarrassing part of the story.
You got turned
The
on.
nurse that was in there, the nurse that was in there, her whole job was to hold my fucking nuts and junk out of the way.
Oh, the genital assistant.
She's there. Instead of a general assistant, she's a genital assistant. She is just holding my stuff, and the doctor gets through, and then just collected so much ick. And then they're like, "Now we're
do
gonna
I
have
pay you
to."
now?
Yeah, they're like, "You're gonna have to pack this in here, and it's gonna be draining for a couple of days, and then, after that you'll be fine." But oh
Damn.
man, I said, if you can't give me anything for pain, do you at least have a pillow I can bite down on? And they said, yeah. And they handed me a pillow to bite down on. Dude, I had like tears streaming down my face. It fucking hurt.
God, dude, I
Oh,
bet.
man.
Yo,
Oh.
you are. I would
Ooh.
even with your one leg, I would not fight you, yo. Like,
No, Josh is the toughest motherfucker, man. He just
I have
What
a-
portable
I have-
weapon.
I have a high pain tolerance. I really do. But
apparently
but
so.
it's only in his
It's
legs.
still-
If he gets a hangnail though on his hand, he's done for. It's the legs though. It's infinitely tough.
Oh,
Is that
dude,
his
I burned.
Achilles heel?
Above the waist, he's Achilles heel. That's great.
Yeah,
Achilles wrist.
yeah.
Oh wait, that's
But,
way worse than I think. Anyways,
It sucked, man. And then finally, it was about 5:30 in the morning when they got done, and I went and grabbed some breakfast and went home and took it home. And Misty was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "No." I said, "If this ever happens again, you're driving my ass, and I don't care if we wake the baby up in the middle of the night because that shit hurt. I wish I'd had morphine."
fuck yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, they were
Damn.
able to admit you for that.
It was agonizing.
I couldn't even
But yeah.
imagine. I mean, the closest thing that I've had to deal with for like that is actually a massively ingrown toenail that was, I forget, 2 or 3 millimeters into my fucking toe, and it was swollen. And the doctor thought I had hammer toes because it was that swollen and so like squared off, and they had to dig it out. Like they completely pulled my toenail and like it just looked like fucking raw meat. But then like it kept coming back.
It's because it is.
Yeah, it was. It literally was. But later on, it just kept happening. Like up until like I got to a really good foot doctor that actually could fucking deal with it. But like I had to dig one out, and it was massively infected. It was swollen, red, purple, fucking. I actually had to take an X-Acto knife to it and fucking poke it to dig down deep enough to dig the fucking toenail out, and it was fucking oozing and bleeding, and I had nothing. I'm just at home. I was like, God.
Does anyone remember like how old they were? For all the fellas that are in here, when you found out just how important like underwear was, boxers, briefs, and why?
Oh,
Especially
God.
when you're wearing pants with a zipper.
Shit,
Oh,
my
man.
field day experience.
Yeah, exactly. He needs long enough pants.
Yeah, I
found-
just didn't know like because there was a time where I was just like, you know what, if I want to go commando today, I can go commando
Free-balling.
today. Yeah.
I've had one small zipper incident in my 20s.
Mine wasn't from zipping up or down. It was just from day to day like
Rubbage.
walking, just the rubbage. Yeah,
Mm.
dude. So
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm 16 years old
No,
in a
you're not.
Walgreens. Yeah. Well, at the time I was.
There you go.
In a Walgreens because like I didn't want like you like because you're 16, you don't want to just like pull your dick out in front of your mom and be like, Mom, what's wrong with this? And so I went to the Walgreens and I was like, hey, so I got a little like a little bit of a like a rubbing problem, and she was like, now is this like an STD or did you get this from like sleep? You know, I was like, no, it just happened today, just now, just a little. I was like, you got like any ointments? Like, so
Oh boy.
like asking this lady at Walgreens from across the street from my high school.
The weird part is
You
he was
know,
at
cashiers aren't trained to know medical stuff.
I was
dude.
gonna say the problem is that he was at the photo development area.
I was. That's the thing, man. Like I was 16. I didn't know any better. I didn't know that just because they were
counter.
They were a pharmacy. Like I didn't know that they weren't like, you know, medical professionals.
You just knew, hey, I go there when I need stuff.
I was like, they have
they
have the ointments, so certainly they know the applications of the ointments.
In theory.
So anyway, she gave me some A&D, and she was like, just do this and always wear underwear. And I was like, you're a godsend.
Yeah,
Man.
I kind of found out it was just Peggy, and she wasn't stupid.
When I was 8, I zipped it up in my Ninja Turtles onesie. I learned that was the time that you need underwear.
You had a Ninja Turtles onesie at 8?
Yeah, man.
How small were you,
dude?
Dude, like, no, seriously, I was like, actually, I was probably like under 3 feet until I hit high school. Then when I hit high school, I like jetted up to 6 foot.
He gained 3 feet in a year.
Got that growth spurt. Put some bass in your voice.
So he was wearing the Ninja Turtle onesie all the way up till 9th grade.
No, I was still wearing it the whole time. That's how I knew I was growing. Actually,
it stopped fitting.
I didn't change out of it. Just like knew I was growing because it came up to my mid calf by then. And then by the time I got to senior year, you know, it was a thong.
Most families had like the little like yardstick or whatever, and like the little lines by one of the the thresholds.
That on his leg.
This dude's got a onesie. He's just like getting tattoos, just like
we had Ninja Turtle onesies, man. Like, do you want me to surgically remove this thing from you now? I'm like, yeah, sure.
You just got a little line on the inside of your leg, seeing how old you are now. 9 years old. It's up to his fucking shin.
First job, they're like, you need to wear this. I'm like, well, you can do that?
Oh my god. I didn't run into any friction issues until I was doing the job that I do now. Most of you guys know what I do, and I just happen to have a particular set of boxers that didn't.
He's a fluffer.
That too.
Man on man pornography.
I'm a box fluffer.
Got a particular set of skills.
Yes. But yeah, no, I had a particular set of boxers that like I just didn't want to wear them if I didn't have to. It was like literally a laundry day pair, you know, like the last fucking, and they didn't have a closing fly on them.
So, those are the worst.
Yeah, so basically I'm dangling all day, rubbing against the inside of my my work shorts, which are not the most comfortable things in the universe in the first place.
Those they look like they're made out of a burlap sack anyway.
Yeah, well, I was getting there. The worst part is the fact that our seats were made out of a waterproof canvas for the most part. So basically, you're
Yeah, delivery driver.
I deliver.
Yeah, man. What can Brown do for you?
Shut up. But anyways. I try not to say it on. They get pissy when people talk about their company on the internet, so I try.
Dude, we didn't say him by name.
I know.
You didn't say anything.
I know.
That's cool.
Anyways, but basically, you're sliding across sandpaper all fucking day back when they had those seats before they got some like tweed kind of. Either way, so there was rubbing on 2 different fronts. Or a front and a back, either way. So that was a rather painful summer because it was 104 degrees outside. So you got a little bit of bog nuts happening along with some friction. It was not happy. It was very, very not bad.
That sounds terrible.
It is.
That sounds toxic, dude. That sounds like your trash was a toxic place for a whole summer.
At least that, yeah. It was. Well,
they
luckily,
sent him to a scientific center to get some samples taken. It's
too
toxic.
There's nothing like having friction rub from the seat that you're in, not from your actual pants. Like the
Right.
friction was actually transferring through the clothing. And then, you get the almost like how Josh, that's actually how I had a very, very small version of the ingrown hair on the inside of my thigh from the same damn thing. But it was from sliding across the seat, getting in and out. And so just rubbing the inside of my thighs raw. And then getting a few ingrown hairs as well. And of course, I'm a slim motherfucker, as you can tell.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. How's the manifesto coming? By the way?
I'm so slim. I'm round.
I'm so slim. I have 2 breakfasts.
Ugh.
Breakfast.
Multiple
Or were they
breakfasts.
lunches? I can't remember.
It
Well-
doesn't matter because Dakota, he's the kind of guy that if he missed a meal, at the next meal, he's making up for that missed meal. He's eating 2 meals.
Yeah, I kind of do too. How
Dude, I am.
How did the tacos go, anyways?
Oh, I'm making them right now.
That's what I said.
Just
It
load
sounds
them
like
up.
cooking. All right.
Yep.
That's what she said.
If we don't have, we're running a little bit, out of time here. So we got a couple extra topics here that we can choose from to figure out how to end this. We got relationships and/or sex,
Ooh.
or we go to the big topic with shit stories.
I don't have any kids, so
What does that have to
I
do
mean,
with anything?
I've got stories. I got. Well, I've got the one.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Which way do we go here? Do we just?
I don't mind. I don't
do-
mind to retell it.
Do we round out though with some relationship and/or sex embarrassing stories, or some shit stories?
I'll tell you now. The way that my gag reflex is set up, I'd much rather do the sex stories. But, I'll go with whatever the majority wants to do.
All right, majority vote, real quick. So that's
Sex
one.
stories.
Okay, that's 2 for sex. Sammy.
oh, dude, I got it. Yeah, I'm up for that one.
Okay, so that's a link to majority there. Josh, you can withhold that story for now, even though it's.
I
might
still
be
feel
able
like
to-
he should at least end on it.
We can end on that note. We can end because
Yeah,
I know
for
it's
sure,
a
'cause-
fantastic story, and Josh is here, so
'cause
he's
that's
going
a-
to tell it.
I was going to
Beautiful
say,
story.
yeah, because so far Josh has had me enthralled with his stories.
Josh,
okay.
that
If
shit's,
you've
everybody's
if you've
heard
not
this
heard
story.
that story, oh my god,
He's
you're
told
in
it
for
minimum 3 times on.
I
different
want
podcasts.
one of Josh's stories to be the want some dick story.
All right, well, we'll just segue right into that.
Okay.
Misty and I have been together for 14 years now. We've been living together for 13 years as of April. Now, we don't know exactly when we met. We just know it was in the springtime of 2005. We had been seeing each other, like not dating regularly. We don't know like when we first went out. All I know is that we went out on a date one night, and then the next morning her and her family went to the beach for a week for vacation. So she and I, this is back in the day before Facebook. This is MySpace was still a thing, and like various messenger chats were still a thing, like Yahoo Messenger, MSN, and we communicated via Yahoo Messenger. I didn't have a telephone at the time at my home, so I sent her a message one day, and my message was, "Want some dick?" And then I see the little
the poet
dots.
that he is.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a valid question.
And I see the dots coming back, and then the response is, "Hold on, she's taking a nap. I'll go get her." It was her. It was her. It was her son, and he was like 12 years old at the time.
Wow.
Oh my
So he knew what it
God.
was. He knew.
Oh,
what
he
it
knew
was.
exactly. He's like,
Oh
"Yeah,
my
hold on, I'll go get her." And the first time I went to her place, he's like, "Y'all can borrow my room if you want to." And I was just like, "Oh my god."
Oh my god.
I didn't tell her. I didn't tell her that I had sent that message, and I just never brought it up for like 9-10 years. I didn't even tell her that story.
Oh my god,
my
that's hilarious.
God.
So mad respect to him for keeping it on the down low.
That's hilarious. That is fucking hilarious, dude.
That
That's
was
a
that was
fucking wingman is
probably
what that is.
Yeah, no shit.
He helped you out.
But it was.
I'll go wake her up. Hold on.
I mean, she had already been getting it. That's why I was just so casually saying, "Hey, you want some? Come on down." But
Fuck.
yeah, that was embarrassing as shit. And another embarrassing and shit story involving her. And man, this is back in the old apartment. Let me see here.
I got one next.
Oh,
after you.
she's out cold, so she can't hear this. We a buddy of mine, I used to live in an apartment complex, and they had 5 apartments to a building. And a buddy of mine, he lived in the next building over, and he had sent me a message. He's like, "Hey man, my water got shut off today while I was at work. I didn't get paid until, I couldn't get to the bank today to get my check cashed." He's like, "Can I borrow a shower later?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll leave the door open. Just come on in, take a shower, whatever." He's like, "All right, cool." Well, I didn't think anything of it. And then she sent me a message. She's like, "Hey, can I come down?" I was like, "Yeah, come on down." So she comes down. We have fun.
Was it The Price is Right with you, Josh?
Yeah.
Come on down.
Come on down.
She comes on down, and we have fun. Now, here's the thing: she's not a quiet person at all.
Oh God.
Those are the best kind.
Yeah. Well, she's not quiet at all. Like, we get done, and I was like, "I'm gonna go downstairs and get something to drink." She's like, "All right." And then I open the door, and I'm going down the steps, and my buddy Brandon, he's sitting there on the couch in the dark. He's like, "You're not killing anybody up there, are you?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Is it still okay to take a shower then?" I was like, "Yeah, go ahead." So he's going upstairs, and I'm going back upstairs, and she's like, "Is somebody here?" I was like, "Yeah, my buddy Brandon apparently has been downstairs for about an hour. He's wondering if I was killing anybody up here." And she's like, "Oh my God." It's funny as shit, man.
Josh was laying that pipe.
Oh my God.
But I wasn't always a fat bastard out of shape, man. I used to be in good shape,
You
and
can
then
knock
she
it.
did this to me.
Oh sure, she put
Domesticated
it.
you,
She put
man.
it
I used to
in you.
knock him down.
She did.
I used to knock him down back in the day.
Yeah, man.
Just tagging on to that because I've only had to experience that. I guess now a couple times. Now that I realized what was going on, I got woke up a couple nights in my first apartment with my best friend. I got woke up a couple times with what sounded a hell of a lot like a dog outside howling. And I knew that we had a neighbor that had a couple little dogs. I'm like, God damn it, what the fuck? Why are these dogs all pissed off in the middle of the night? This is bullshit. And then just go back to sleep, don't even think about it. Weeks later, because he worked overnight, so he was coming home in the middle of the night. And yeah, so it was the girl he was seeing the whole fucking time.
Oh.
And like, of course, I didn't know because it was all happening while either I was asleep or while I was at work. Because I would leave, he'd be sleeping. We're on offset schedules. So I'm just like, what the fuck is that noise? And it's not like I could hear, banging or anything. I'm just hearing what sounds like a fucking dog howling. I was like, Jesus Christ. And it's like
A howling dog in the distance.
yeah, I mean, it was going through a couple walls and shit, so I don't even think about it. I just fucking try to go back to sleep. And maybe if I'd ever had to go into the kitchen or something, I would have definitely been able to tell. But damn.
Oh God.
Oh man.
Quick segue, and I'll shut up. But it's one time I used to live with my grandmother after high school in South Carolina, and I heard something howling in the night, and we thought it was somebody getting beaten because they were just crying, just howling.
Oh God.
So I called the cops. I was like, "Man, I think there's some domestic violence going on next door." And the cops roll up, and what it was, they had gotten a brand new puppy that day, and they were keeping it in the garage. And me and him were standing outside in the driveway, and I was like, "Officer, it's been going on for about 20, 30 minutes, but it stopped after I called." We're standing there, and he listened. He heard it, and he fucking threw his hand down to his gun and hit his radio and took off running across the yard. I was like, "Oh shit, no, I'm not crazy. He's hearing it too. It's just a fucking puppy." And I felt so terrible. I went up to them the next day, and I apologized. I was like, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought that somebody may have been in trouble. Maybe there was an accident or something." And the neighbor turned out to be a lawyer. He's like, no, I'm glad we got good neighbors that are concerned about our well-being. You know, it was a minor irritant, but the puppy kept us awake all night. But thanks for looking out. But I was embarrassed as shit. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
All right, so this was back in one of our old apartments earlier, closer when when I moved in with her. I always thought I was like Don Juan and everything, you know, and I liked
Fucking Don Juan.
Don Juan DeMarco over here, you know, and we're about to go, you know, get it on, and I go and I stick my foot up on the bed.
I was a little worried where that was
going. The bed was up against the wall, and I ended up falling on my ass and then like lodging myself between the wall and the bed and getting stuck.
Oh, God.
I had to like get her to push. I had to push, and she had to pull it from where we were. That totally killed that night.
Oh, man.
Damn, that's almost an injury and sex story.
Yeah, right.
I have a story. It's not necessarily a sexual one, but it is. It involves girls, and it's the one that I had mentioned in the chat earlier, Shoky. Like, this was. I was probably I was still in high school at the time, going to the movies, and oh, actually, no. I was out of high school. My bad. This was around the time when The Matrix came out. So yeah, I was out of high school by then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we were going to the movies. It was me and one of my close homeboys. I think we were going to watch The Matrix. Actually, I'd watched that like 9 times in the theater. It was so crazy. And so I went to the bathroom. Went to go use the bathroom before the movie, and I came out. You know, I washed my hands and everything like one does. And I came out, and there were these 3 girls at the concession stand, and one of them was this just gorgeous blonde chick. Like, oh my God, she was. I mean, her hair was just like this bright ass blonde, just like it really caught my eyes. And she had really, really, really bright green eyes, and she was just gorgeous. Yo, she was just so pretty. And around this time, you know, I still had my my dreadlocks, and I had just gotten them done and, you know, styled and everything. So, you know, and you couldn't tell me nothing. I thought I was the man. So, like a derelict, right? Like a fucking idiot. I look back at this and I'm just so mortified that I did this. I just walk up to, like, they had ordered all their shit, right? And I just walked up to them, right? These 3 girls. And I just casually just like, hey, girls, how you doing? And I just start reaching into their popcorn and eating it. Like, yo, like a savage. And I was like, you know, and at the time, I thought nothing of it. Like, I legit thought nothing of it. I just thought, you know, I'm like, so handsome.
It's like uber creepy now, yeah.
Yeah, yo, I think back on it, and I'm like, yo. And I clearly just walked out of the bathroom. Like, the concession stand was pretty much right next to the bathroom.
Oh, my God.
Like, so it's just, like, even worse. They have no idea whether or not I actually wash my hands. And even if I did, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
It's just like, what up, girl? I'm gonna eat this popcorn.
And it was yeah, exactly.
It sounds like a fucking Michael Bay movie.
I know, right?
Like, totally. And the funny thing is, like, it was one girl was Asian. I think she might have been Filipino. She kind of looked like she was Filipino. And the other girl was black. And then the one white girl was the one that I was, because the other 2 girls were ugly. But the white girl was, like, really pretty. So, you know, you would expect the black girl to be like, hey, bro, like, you know, like, go off, right? Nah.
It was a fucking Filipino, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't even her. Becky was like, yo, bro, like, like, with, like, just, I mean, her slang was better than mine. Like, she was like, like, you know, I legit think she might have called me a nigga. Like, But not in that way. Not like, you know how when black people talk to each other, we say,
Yeah.
It ends with an A, not the hard ER.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, just legit, just spazzing on me. And I just, you know, you want to talk about tail between legs, like, turning and running, like legit running. Like I legit ran.
Oh my god, man! Cool,
was
Mr.
so
Fabio.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
guys. That was
man,
it.
that's funny.
I could just see one of your guys like fucking just watching you do this shit and just walk up. What up, girl? And then you fucking bite your shit. I'm like, what the motherfucker is this guy doing?
Yup. Yeah,
That, we need to give that to somebody to put in some fucking dumbass teenage movie. Dakota, what the fuck are you eating?
Yeah, what is that?
Dude,
It's
I'm
like-
topping them with the cheese right now.
Yeah, it's loud as
He's
fuck.
like-
How much cheese?
Oh,
is
really?
it?
I'm trying to hold. Oh, dude,
What are
like
you-
I thought I was holding it away from the mic.
No,
I'm holding
you're like
it right
in the
next
mic.
to it.
You're inside
was
the mic
on
with
the
that
other
fucking
side.
shit
Oh
the
my
whole
God.
time he was talking.
Dude,
I thought it
Are
was like
you
a
pulling
raccoon
that-
going through your trash or something.
are you pulling that cheese out of a Make Toys package? It sounds like you're trying to unbox one of their.
No,
fucking
man, it's one of
Transformers.
the 32-ounce cheese bags. We go through cheese pretty fierce in this house.
We can tell.
Dude,
no wonder
shred
you
your-
fucking shit
buy-
logs.
Buy blocks of cheese and shred your own. It melts better and it's got a better flavor than that.
That's the thing. I don't
pre-shredded
want.
bag.
I don't want
doesn't
this
have
cheese
that
melted.
potato
I don't want
starch
this
on
shit.
And it's
Easy,
quieter.
fellas. I'm fatter than both of you, so I don't like my cheese melted, and just grated from the
Well-
bag. It's just quick, and you just get right to
Yeah.
it.
You're wrong, but okay.
And somehow a Dalton wandered in here. A wild Dalton has appeared.
Hello.
Yeah, Dalton.
I've got-
Dalton, don't
I've
talk
got
to me
my own
about cooking. You
embarrassing
get all your
stories.
recipes off of Juicy or Tasty or whatever it is.
No.
Juicy
Tasty.
makes shorts and tight pants.
And apparently,
Juicy.
after they ran a relay race with him in the
Juicy.
field day, he waved to the crowd.
He's wearing some juicy shorts and his cock is flopping.
Those juicy
was wearing
relay
juicy
pants.
He's got that one man
Juicy gym
relay going on.
shorts.
He's got the one man handoff.
Hilarious. That's hilarious.
God.
All right, I got one.
I can wear a pair of those in the summertime and say juicy, and it's just man sweating my ass crack, and it just look
It
bad.
just happens to spell out juicy in the sweat lines.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude,
Alright.
what I like about my new job is that like I can just wear whatever the fuck I want. So these summer months are they're coming up. Like right now I'm in blue jean shorts at work, but sooner or later it's gonna come down to them juicy shorts.
Ooh.
No,
Oh.
I don't think it ever comes down to that. So wait,
Oh, no, man,
instead of
no.
inspecting the lot lizard, you've become one.
I'm all about comfort. So my story involves the time that I became a man.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah, this was
was
this
that
was my
last?
first.
Was
this
that
is in
last
future
week?
tense.
Because
This is in the
No, this was my first time. So
Wait, hold on, wait. Are you sure? Because that chick did have to ask.
yeah,
For the first time. Oh.
I don't catch the
oh,
reference.
She needed to know
last
if you were
week
a man
when
or
she
not.
needed to know if you were.
Oh, you're still talking about last week? No. That's although that is a line that I have used before and it has worked.
Last
they
week
think
I
you're
was a
innocent?
man?
But you're not. No. Last week, not last week. Whenever you tell them that like you're new, they're like, "Oh, that's adorable," and then they're more likely to let you disrespect them.
Oh.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's fucked
How,
up.
how about that?
Give it a try. So,
Continue.
anyways, this is another high school story. I was 16, and this girl I'd been talking to on Facebook, she was another friend of mine's cousin, and she was just like I was in a band back in high school, like a metal band, not like a nerds playing in a football game band. So she was like, "I'm gonna come to your show and blah blah blah, and we'll do this and blah blah blah." I was like, "Sweet." And so after the show, my buddy Mark was there. My buddy Mark looks just like me, which should have kind of been the red flag, but anyways, it's like you'll understand, I guess, why like later on in the story. So show's over. It's her, Mark, me, and her cousin, which is my buddy Zach, and we all go back to Mark's house. Zach dips out, she stays, and so we're all laying in Mark's mom's bed because his mom worked graveyard shift, and we're watching TV. Covers are over us, and she's feeling up on me, I'm feeling up on her, and like in the back of my mind I was like, dude, I wonder if she's doing the same thing with her other hand, like but on him, because it was me, her, then him. It was a sandwich. And like I was like, man, I really don't want this to like be the way, but if it's got to be the way, it's got to be the way. And so anyways, like I managed to get it to where both of her hands where like I could account for them. And then so finally, like Mark
boy.
went to sleep, and I was like, dude, it's time to do this. And so I start laying pipe for a vigorous 30 seconds. Midway through, Mark wakes up.
30 seconds.
Wait,
Mark-
hold on. You're fucking her right next to your buddy on this bed.
And he's asleep, and it's his mother's bed.
As one does. As one does.
And,
Takes a lot of balls.
Continue.
and like so
Takes a lot of balls for sure.
Oh yeah, so I'm like railing into her. I'm like, all right, we can do this without waking him up. I look over, man. Mark is looking at me just fucking wide-eyed, man. He's just like it's almost like his eyes were open as wide as his mouth was. You know what I mean? And I was like, "Do you might want to close your mouth here in a couple of seconds because it's almost launch time." And he's just and it's like, I stop. No, I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Mark?" And she's like, "Why'd you stop?" And I was like, "'Cause Mark's awake." And he's just kind of like, I was like, "Dude, do you want us to like?" Actually, no, I didn't ask him if we wanted to. I was like, "Dude, do you mind going to another room?" Like I was so.
Do you want us to leave? You should go.
I was so
Should go,
fucking.
bro.
I was so fucking disrespectful. But
Nah, bro. No, you weren't. If he was a good friend, he would have given you that.
He was just like he was like, yeah, for sure. Like he went and like he slept on the couch. So like I beat that up into the wee morning hours.
How old were you again?
16.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
And so then like we kept seeing each other on and off, and like her cousin Zach, like he was her ride, because he was old enough for a driver's license. And I mean, she was old enough for a driver's license too. She was just fucking retarded and didn't learn how to drive. But blondes, am I right? So anyways, that I told you that story because like her and Mark used to bang something fierce before I got a hold of it. So yeah, so like that's where like that's like not knowledge that was common to me at the time.
So if you and your buddy Mark looked alike, then
Exactly.
you were still hooked on that fool.
So yeah, exactly.
But she just didn't care. She's like, yeah, it's the same.
To be fair, I didn't care. Like this was no long-term thing. She's like my mind. She's fucking me on my friend's mom's bed. Like
Yeah,
I'm not like this isn't wife material. This is
at all. This is playtime.
Yeah, exactly, dude. You know what's up. So we're at a house party. Her, myself, her cousin Zach. We're at my friend Chris's house. His mom was out of town. And so we were all running wild, drinking and shit, smoking pot. And so she was just like, I'm horny. I was like, can you wait? Because, I'm a social butterfly, especially when I'm drinking.
Oh, God, yes, you are.
So Josh knows. Dalton even knows to a degree.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's like, no, I need it now. So I'm like, all right. So I holler at my buddy Chris. I was like, yo, Chris, which one of these rooms can I lay this down in? And he was just like, you can use my room. I was like, dude, for real? Like, I would have like accepted a room with just a floor, nothing fancy. And
you can have the room that's got the furniture in it.
So he was like, dude, you can have my bed. And I was like, that's baller. Chris was 19 at the time, and he also still was holding dearly onto his virginity. So I felt kind of bad because I was taking that bed, you know what I mean, from him. But it is what it is. He was fine with it. I was fine with it.
You got the Chris in the bed for him.
So yes. So we head in there, and she finds her cousin Zach, and she's like, Zach, make sure no one comes into the store to bother us. So me and her both walk in. Zach walks in behind us, and I turned around and I said, Zach, what the fuck are you doing? And he was just like, I'm making sure, I'm gonna watch the door, make sure no one's. I was like, couldn't you do that from the other side though? Wouldn't it be like better? You could preemptively stop them on the other side of that door. You can see them coming down the hall, and you can be like, no, you shall not pass. But Nope, he was pretty dead set, and like she was just like, "Come on, fucking just do this," and I was just like, "I don't know." So then, like of course, like at that point, like she's getting me a little half hard, right? And so like I'm ready, like I'm worked up, I'm ready to go. And so I was like, dude, just I guess stand with your fucking forehead against the door, whatever. So
Stand in the corner like you're sorry.
so I lay her down, man. We start getting undressed and shit. And as I'm like climbing on top of her, I feel something like down at the foot of the bed, like a little pressure. And I'm like, I don't remember Chris having any dogs. And I look out of the corner of my eye, Zach's like he's just sitting on the bed at the foot of the fucking bed. And I'm just I'm like, oh my God. I was like, really? Like, she was just like, just so out of the corner of my eye, man. Like, I'm just like constantly like watching this dude that is watching essentially out of the corner of his eye, me disrespect his cousin. Like,
that's weird as fuck.
It's like, oh, that's how you do it.
Like, dude, I was like, because I mean, man, I was going through the old wheel of funkery, and
the zodiac calendar.
You can't just
the wheel of morality turn.
You can't just man, you can't just stick with a missionary. You got to switch it up, right? Do different positions and whatnot.
We've seen the internet.
Correct. Yeah. And it was so like I don't think I busted. I think I just told her I did.
What is with this chick and being okay with that?
Like that was I mean, she was totally fine, like, because I mean she was like a water sprinkler, and like that's like like how when they're loud it's great, but when they're also like a fucking shower faucet, that's fantastic too.
I'm married to one.
So anyway, so like there's all over the place, but anyways, like we get up, we
that's
get
great,
dressed,
Dakota.
like, this was it was just very, very strange. We broke up later on that week.
Oh, good. Jesus.
Yeah.
And then she fucked her cousin.
He finally locked his
might as well. Like,
he was working his way up to a threesome there, man. You were cock blocking.
Dude, it's like every time there had to be another dude in the room for her to fucking get off, man. I was like, you're so crazy.
Eiffel Tower.
That's fucking weird, man.
Absolutely insane.
Oh, God,
one dude that had to look like me, and then the other dude that had to be related to her, and I was just like, man, this is too much. I don't want to see where this is going in the future.
Only progresses from there.
Yeah, her dad's gonna be in the room next time.
Okay.
All right, let's switch subjects now.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, we'll go with a quick embarrassing relationship story here. Let me figure. I got a couple of them lined up here, but back in high school, I decided to cock block myself by accident at a homecoming dance.
Shit, that was me every day in high school.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had a girlfriend. We hadn't had sex or anything like that, but it's fucking homecoming. We spent money on this. I got my mom's minivan. Shit could happen.
The shaggin' wagon.
It could have been the shaggin' wagon. I made sure I took the seats out before I fucking borrowed it. But
what's that for? Oh, just to like haul my friends around.
Yeah, but exactly. But at this point, we're it's about halfway through the dance. We have a good old time, and like she was part of the not drill team. What's the color guard? So she's one of the color guard girls, and so their whole group of friends is all dancing together in a circle. And then
so that's like dance line.
Kinda. No, they the flag twirlers.
Dude, them dance line chicks, thick as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But I made the dumbass mistake of pointing out that her particular friend, actually named Misty, was looking pretty good tonight. Because normally she was dressing like a fucking hobo. So she actually had a dress on, she had her hair did, all kinds of shit. I'm like, and so I thought it was a good idea to point out that she looked good tonight. It was not a good idea.
No.
Shut that shit down hard for the rest of the fucking night. That was
it's like, so you think she looks better than me, do you? Huh?
I didn't even
want to get with my friend?
No,
but that's what's going through her head.
Although I think was she there alone? I don't. Either way, it doesn't matter. But yeah, no, she was obviously a very insecure and jealous girl. So that relationship did not work out. But that was a good moment right there, and like maybe I should have kept that thought on the inside. Or, I don't know, said it to a guy instead of my fucking girlfriend.
It's funny, dude. It's so funny. Like just to kind of go off of that. Like my friend Jessica, she was just like whenever chicks are all prettied up and shit, like you should like compliment them on their dress or whatever, say they look good or some shit like that. I was like, so how would you feel if your boyfriend they're still like together? Andrew said that shit about one of your friends, like whenever she was all dolled up and shit. And she was like, oh, I think it'd be, totally appropriate. And I was like, whatever. You're a liar.
Yeah, my wife.
Liar, pants on fire.
My wife tries to catch me in that kind of situation too. We'll see some actress or whatever all done up on the TV, and she's like, "Isn't she gorgeous?" And I'm like, "I don't know what to do with this. What? How do I answer this question?" Or like,
dude, that's when you say, "Nah, man, I think she could do a lot better."
Yeah, exactly.
And, just keep walking.
The other day, she said something about like I think it was one of her friends or one of her coworkers, and she's like pulling the picture up on Facebook. She's like, "Look at this! She got their makeup done." She went, "No, this isn't she beautiful?" And I'm like, I got nothing here. It's like, this is a trap. This is bullshit. I said this to her. I was like, this is a trap.
It's a trap.
I'm not answering this question. I know how this fucking works. It's like, no, it's okay.
I'm glad my wife doesn't do that.
I will refrain from my answering.
I was just say, I just said, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, good. Yeah. I mean, I can appreciate it if she is not so insecure that she would be jealous along those lines, but I don't want to risk it because there's always that Rolodex of memory that can come back whenever you fuck up. Like, remember when you said this? No, I don't. But I remember it being a trap.
Exactly. Exactly.
I remember getting that sinking feeling in the bottom of my stomach before I answered this question, honestly.
I only have like one kind of embarrassing sex story because honestly I have very limited experience compared to most people. But
you ever get walked in on?
No. This is well technically okay. Hold on. It's not necessarily a walk in on, but it's a drive-by.
Is it considered walking in on if he was there before you started?
He walked in with you.
My dad walked in on me one time, a long time ago. When I was in high school.
My mom walked in on me while I was.
Oh no!
God. Okay.
Dude,
all over her back and everything.
I had this girl bent over her bed, and her dad walked in on us.
Oh my God! Okay.
Okay.
I just looked. I looked, made eye contact, locked eyes. He just turned around and shut the door. And I went back to what I was doing. About 2 minutes later, I went in there, and he said, "Well, I suspected." And I was like, "Hi." He's like, "I don't want to talk to you right now."
I'm lucky that never happened. I mean, my mom walked in on us making out once. Actually, the same girl that I'm talking about here. I only had 2 girlfriends in high school. This is the one I did all the fun stuff with. So we were having sex, but one of the only places we really could do it was in my my old Bronco 2. And we worked together, so we would either take our lunch break together, or we come visit each other on our lunch, and working overnight, you just make use of the parking lot that's nice and empty. So we're parked on the side of the building. We're doing our thing. And one of our coworkers is having to move pallets of firewood or some shit. I don't remember what the fuck it was. Just pallets and pallets of shit from the front of the store to the back of the store. And he's on the forklift. He drives by 6 fucking times. He knows exactly what's going on. And he drives by slow and he honks the entire time he's going by. My windows are tinted, but only enough like I could just see him going by. It's like you probably couldn't make out a whole lot what was going on in the vehicle. I was just like, really, like by the end of it, we're just laughing. But like, it's like, come on, dude, like fucking A, like. It's like because it's like I don't know 7 o'clock 8 o'clock at night. There's not a whole lot going on. Actually, maybe later. It was dark,
like super late.
Yeah, it's late or whatever, and he's just fucking around. And then of course she still had to go back to work after that. That's like I was visiting her, so she still had to go back in the store after all that. And it's like, well, I don't know that killed the mood. But Jesus Christ, dude! It's like because it's literally like, and forklifts. It's not a very fast one. He's literally just sort of just cruising on by, honking the whole time. It's like, God damn it, man! It's like, ugh. Yeah, but no, the walking in on that never happened because we never did that at my parents' house or at any other person's house at that point. So thank God I never had that problem. But my mom did learn to not open my door after that one incident. She's like, I don't want to see that. It's like, I don't want you to see that. So how about you leave that door closed? It's like, it's like, you shouldn't have fucking opened that door.
Hard to knock.
Yeah, well, it was like she was walking by, like she knew we were back there, doing whatever teenagers do whenever they're alone in the back of the house, and then she just walks by,
with their hormones and whatnot.
the hormones and all that, and I mean the door wasn't 100% closed, but it was open just enough. But she would do little walk bys, and at one time, like they're just full on making out on the bed, and she's like off the bed, and I'm like, okay, so we just started making out on my little futon instead. Like, you just said get off the bed. That didn't, that doesn't stop anything. You just move locations. Thanks, Mom.
I had a house party at my house one time, and my friend was there with his fiance, and it was one of those outdoors because it was cold. So like I had a fire going out back, and I was doing some grilling, simple shit, burgers, hot dogs, nothing fancy. And we were all drinking because he brought tequila. And so him and his fiance just kind of like scuttle off somewhere. Now the house is locked. Like anytime I leave my home, it doesn't matter if I'm going in the front yard, the backyard, doors are locked. That's just the kind of like, person I am. So I'm like trying to find them because the food's ready. I don't want to get in cold. And I see like we have pampas grass, which is like on the other side of the gate. And I see it kind of like moving a little bit. And I was like, first of all, what a mistake. Second of all, I know exactly what's going on. What a mistake. I don't know if you guys know anything about pampas grass, but that shit will slice you up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like razor blades, yeah.
Yeah, so like that's just where they kind of decided to go. So I just crept around and no lights or anything. Like, I didn't have any outside lights on or anything. We just had the fire going out of an oil barrel at that. And it was probably 30, 40 feet away. And so I creep up on him and he's hitting it doggy style. And I just start running my fingers through the back of his hair and I was like, proud of you. And he just like he seizes up, he's like dude, so mad. Same couple, we're at her brother's house. Her brother-in-law is her sister's husband. Anyways, whatever that terminology is. And they her brother-in-law really liked me, and he thought I was a cool guy. I thought he was a cool guy. We played Xbox together. No. Cool guy. So no, like we'd play Xbox together, and we would get super fucked up on all the gentleman's jack, and we wouldn't let anyone else drink it because we were the alphas. And like we were some bullies together. There's no lie about that. At least when it comes to like sharing alcohol, we were. So he goes to bed drunk, and like my spot was in the garage, so that way I could chain smoke while I was playing video games. And anyway, so like everyone kind of starts to disappear because it was another friend of mine and his girlfriend was there too. They found a little room to scuttle off in. And so same buddy, his fiance, they're in the living room. I walked by him because I had to take a shit. And yeah, they weren't like quite in the heat of it yet. So I have this thing where I like to take pictures of my dumps that are picture worthy.
Oh man,
I'm that guy, dude. I'm that guy. So I took a picture of it, and then I went back into the garage, and I texted her the picture, and I texted it to her, not to him, because I know, like, dude, women, they have got to check that phone when it goes off, and so I hear doof, 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 door slams open, like just. Real quick, she was like, "You're a fucking asshole. You just ruined the moment." And so she sits down next to me and she goes, "Give me one of your cigarettes." And I was like, "All right." And he's still in the other room, fucking mad, because like she brought her phone with her, and she gets a text message from him. It says, "Get back in here." So, oh, dude, like he did not get any that night. I ruined that for him, and I don't feel bad about it at all.
I used to like to back when Facebook had that thing for when you have a child, I would say I just had a healthy shit. and then they don't let you do that unless you actually have a child now.
Wow, what do they want? Like birth certificate proof?
Yeah, I know, right? Like they took, I think they took that feature off or something, or they just banned me from doing it. They're like,
It was just you.
we've had enough of his poos.
Oh my god.
Yep.
What kind of Veronica Moser, like German scat porn type shit? You guys into? Like, what the hell?
Fucking Dakota. Well, I guess that's a perfect segue into how we're gonna finish this. Oh god. Okay, so I'm gonna go just real quick so we can let Josh tell his epic shit story here.
I got an epic one too.
Well, I was gonna let Josh do it because we're running out of time.
Okay, cool.
And
Go for
it's
it.
a good long story, but I only have, because what spoilers, Josh is gonna talk about shitting himself. I only have one time that I've ever really done it, and it was on my way to school. I trusted a fucking fart, and it was not a fart only, and shit my pants. Luckily, it didn't come through my pants and ruin my really nice seats in my fucking vehicle. But I ended up calling in sick to fucking school. And actually, I don't even remember what the fuck I told them other than I was sick to my stomach or something like that. I come back in the house. I'm waddling. My dad's like, "What are you doing back?" I was like, "I thought you left." And I'm like, "Hold on." Went to the bathroom, took everything off, fucking threw my underwear in the garbage, threw my shorts in the fucking sink, finished my business, and took a shower, and told him what happened 20 minutes later. And then I called the school, my dad did, and they're like, "What?" They're like, "Okay." I was like, "Yeah, what do you tell him?" It's like, "I shit myself on the way to school. I'm not coming in. There's no recovering from that." Now,
real quick. It's a short one. I actually left work, quote unquote, sick one time because I had trusted a fart. To be fair, at the time I was working in the food industry, so
yeah, you couldn't work and be covered in shit.
Correct. And like I'm always a shorts wearing person, so it was only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Oof.
Anyways, I just told him, I was like, dude, I'm not feeling too good. I need to leave early for the day. And they were like, all right.
I got a little rumble down below. All right, so Josh, I will give the floor to you.
Well, real quick, before I go into that story, one time I was on a date with a chick and shit myself right as we were sitting down.
Oh god.
Oh no.
I'd had the flu that week. And like I coughed. And I was like, "Go ahead and order. I'll be right back." And I'm walking all tight ass to the bathroom and everything, get in there. Thankfully, none got on my pants, and I just kind of ripped the underwear off and threw them in the trash can, and cleaned up, and went commando the rest of the day.
That's fucking great.
Man,
It was pretty crazy.
I used to have to walk a mile from the bus stop to my house, and this was back when I had a roommate, and I shit myself on the walk. And by the time I got home, I took my roommate was walking in, and so I freaked out, and instinctively I threw my underwear out the window and into the alley.
Oh, no.
And then right when he comes in, I'm have a towel around my waist, and I hear somebody in the alley, "Who threw that shitty ass underwears out here?"
Oh no.
Just hope nobody got hit with it. Just plop.
Right.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, exactly.
So
I was gonna say, is Afate gonna puke from this story?
I hope he doesn't on this one here. But
That's what I'm saying.
all right. So last year we went to Chicago for TFCon. Now, TFCon was the 26th through the 28th.
Bro, don't tell me you shit your pants at TFCon.
Oh no,
Don't
no,
tell
you
me.
haven't. Hold on, you actually have not heard this.
So
Okay,
he's not heard the
he has
story.
not heard the story.
So,
Holy shit, dude!
I
You're in for a treat.
actually rode with Jason Lowry and his wife Bethany, Russ and Anna.
Shout out to Lowry.
JL and Loretta, Tyler F, and Jason's brother Joe.
Hashtag
and,
bang bus.
Hashtag
yeah,
bang
we called
bus.
it the Bang Bus, and we all met up. We all met up on the Tuesday, and then stayed I went up on a Tuesday to Maryland and met up with them Wednesday morning, and we crashed at Tyler's house on Wednesday night, and then rode into Chicago Thursday morning. So we had a great time and everything. We're all leaving on the way back. On the way back, we had Max and Amber, who got married on the Thursday before TFCon and flew in on the Friday morning. So they were riding back with us all the way back to Virginia. Now, Sunday morning, you know, I didn't have breakfast that morning. I got up. We did the lunch thing in Caddyshack's there. I had a turkey club sandwich, which was good. Fries and a Coke. But man, I mean, Caddyshack's was overrated. The food was good, but it was like expensive pub food.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Man, I couldn't agree
$17.
more. I couldn't agree more.
$17 for a turkey sandwich, fries, and a Coke. That was ridiculous. That was pre-tip. Yeah. So, I mean, hell, me and Dakota spent $26, and we each got a medium-sized deep dish pizza for ourselves. So
even I couldn't finish mine, but yeah.
But you ate 5 slices in the restaurant.
That's true, but I still didn't finish it.
Yeah. But yeah, so Sunday we're leaving. We're heading back. And it's Lowry's driving, Russ is shotgun, then me, Anna, and Bethany in the next seat. And then the next seat back was Tyler, Max, and Amber. And the next seat back was Joe and JL and Loretta. I mean, we had this van and all of our shit that we had ended up buying. There was no room in the van for me. I couldn't keep my prosthetic attached. Now, keep in mind, I'd only had my prosthetic for 2 weeks at this point. So I had been walking a lot, but I had worn myself out so much on Thursday and Friday that got to the point where Saturday and Sunday, Dakota and Dalton and a few other people were taking turns pushing me around in a wheelchair just because I was so tired, physically exhausted.
Oh, I think I saw pics. People were posting pics in.
Well, there's a video. There's a video of Rob treating me like a rickshaw cart. He grabs my ankles and starts pulling me from the restaurant all the way down the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucked up.
And I was like,
great.
I was like doing a whip action and saying, "Mush, motherfucker, mush," and it was just funny as hell. But that we leave, and we left. We rolled out about 3:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday. About an hour later, we stopped to top off for gas and filled up because, you know, once we got into Ohio, we were just going to try to do a straight shot to Tyler's. We're filling up, and we look over, and there's Vinny. Vinny's just sitting there grinning with his big shit-eating grin on his face. And if you've ever met Vinny in person, he is just full of energy. He's an awesome dude. Love him to death. And he's like, "What's up, guys?" And he's like, "I just figured I'd follow y'all." You're like, okay, cool. So we got gas, said our goodbyes and everything, and got back in the bus, and we're moving along. About 2 hours later, when you have 11 people's bladders inside a van, the bladders sadly are not synced up. So all of a sudden, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 women on there. I gotta pee. Yeah, I gotta pee too. I could pee. And I was like, yeah, I can pee too. So we stopped. And then Tyler's like, well, fuck it. Since we're stopping, they got a Popeye's chicken here. I'm getting some food. So he got some food, and everybody's like, yeah, let's just go ahead and get some food and eat. You know, it's like 6:00, 7 in the evening already. And I was like, yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and get something. You know, we'll be getting back around midnight. So I got a little 3-piece chicken strip meal with their mashed potatoes and gravy and a biscuit and a drink. And I ate it, and I was like, yeah, it's not that great. I'm not impressed. You know, Popeye's, first time I ever had it, wasn't the greatest.
You're too far north for Popeyes.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like, let me defend. Okay. You're just too far north for them.
Well, I would probably agree to that. So we finish up, and then Vinny was just like, Tyler said, "Vinny, why don't you just come to my place and crash, take a nap, and you can take me and Joe in the car with you to kind of give some room in the bus," because we were cramped. I mean, I was literally sitting with my left leg and ass up on the seat and my right knee down in the floor of the van because I couldn't keep my leg on. It was that cramped. That's how I was riding. You know, using my prosthetic for a cup holder. That's where I put my coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but we get about an hour and a half down the road, and all of a sudden, my stomach just started making this noise. It was going.
Oh shit! Oh,
I was like,
shit, son.
I was like, uh-oh. I said, uh-oh. And then I was like, okay, maybe that was just one little wave. About a minute later.
Oh,
And then
goddamn.
I said, Jason, I was like,
Oh.
at your next convenience, pull into the first travel plaza, aka rest stop, whatever you see. I've got to destroy a toilet. And he looked on the GPS, and he's like, it says it's 21 miles. I was like, what's the speed limit? He's like, 70. I said, can you do 90? He's like, I'll try. So he speeds up, and my stomach, it just kept going.
Oh.
Finally, it's cresting. I can feel it. It's going to happen. I'm sweating. I'm breaking out in the sweats. I'm about to shit myself in the van. And we pull into the travel plaza, and Russ is like, can you get your leg on? Can you get your leg on? I was like, I don't have time for that. Can somebody push me on a wheelchair? Russ is like, I got you. He jumps out of the van, grabs a wheelchair. I open up the side door and I hop down in. I was like, let's go. Now, Russ, he's not just pushing me casual. He is like running, pushing me across this fucking before I ripped ass. And the bathrooms, of course, are all the way across the fucking big ass 300-foot football field sized lobby.
Of course.
So he gets me in there, and he's like, "You good? How's this work? Do I need to help you in?" It's like, "No, man, I got this. You know, they got handicap stalls. I can get in there with the chair, get up and get positioned." So I did, and got in there, and as soon as I got my shorts down enough and was hovering over, it's just like boom, eruption. So I was like, "Oh my god!" And I sat there, and I sat
you
there.
Just made it. You just made it.
Just made it, and I just made it for like 20 fucking minutes, man. And then I get done. And it's like, okay, finally. So I stand back up. You know, I wipe, and then I stand up. And as I'm reaching down to pull my shorts, I feel it. I was like, oh god, there's more. So I sat back down, and it's like, yeah. I sat back down, and just jet streams flying out of my ass, man. It's like there was chemtrails coming out of my asshole, and they were made of shit. And
like turning on a sprinkler system.
Yeah, kind of like that. But oh, it was rough. And I got done, so I cleaned myself. I stand up. I was like, okay, nothing's happening. I pull my shorts up and buckle and everything, and I sit down, and I'm wheeling myself out. And I'm slowly making it across, and everybody's just sitting inside. They're like, "You okay?" I was like, "Maybe." I was like, "I need some air, and I think it'd be a good idea to take some Imodium." So I'll go outside to get some air. Russ gives me some Imodium. I take the Imodium. I'm out there for about 10 minutes. He's like, "What do you think?" And then I was like, "Jesus Christ." I was like, "I've got to go again." So I go back, I go again. I'm in there a good 15, 20 minutes. And finally, it was done. My stomach was not making any more rumbling sounds. I'm empty. I am empty of the shit. I was like, yes, this is great. I'm done. And I get back out there. I was like, all right, I think we're good. Awesome. Let's go. I've already set us behind an hour and 15 minutes. So we make our way on. No more instances. My stomach feels good. I'm happy. You know, stop and get a big thing of coffee about a half an hour out from Tyler's house. Get to Tyler's house about 1 a.m. And what Tyler had neglected to tell us, he said, my dog got sprayed by a skunk while I was going. And the first thing I thought was, oh no. I've been sprayed by a skunk before in my life. I know how terrible that smells. I said, but I also know how a dog behaves when a dog gets sprayed by a skunk. A dog wants to instinctively try to rub its body on anything and everything to get the smell to come off of its fur.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they know how to do. And it doesn't work. It just spreads the smell. So when we got inside, we opened up the door and stepped inside. It's like, damn, all you could smell was the fucking skunk smell. And I had slept on the couch the night we were there on the Wednesday. So I walk over to the couch and I picked up the couch pillows and it reeked of skunk. And I said, I'm sleeping in the floor tonight. So we're getting all of our stuff ready. We're all tired as shit. And Russ and Anna have a king size air mattress they're laying on. Jason and Bethany got a king size air mattress laying right next to theirs. And I'm at the foot of that. And then in the next room, which is like a dining room, and it's an open floor plan. So it's like living room, dining room. Max and Amber on an air mattress in there. Vinny is on the love seat, which he had pulled into the kitchen, which is right off of the dining room. Joe was asleep downstairs in a recliner in the basement. Justin and Loretta had the guest bedroom and a bed, and then Tyler had his own bedroom. So everybody
sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun actually. Like a sleepover,
yeah. But we were all just dog tired. You know, it's about 20 after 1 in the morning. We're all laying down. We're all beat. And, you know, the rest of us, we still got to make the drive back the next day. You know, it's got a good 6-7 hour drive back to Virginia from Tyler's. So we're laying there, and all of a sudden, and we're all laying in the living room, and everybody heard it. And Jason was like, "Man, what's that?" I was like, "That's my stomach." He's like, "You gonna be okay?"
Wow, it was that loud that
I was like
other people could hear it.
I was like, "Well, I took that Imodium. I should be okay." And the next thing I know, we were all dead asleep. Now this is about 1:30 in the morning. About 5, maybe 5:30 in the morning, I opened my eyes, and I was like, "Uh-oh, something's not right here." Now everybody's still asleep. I reached down underneath my blanket, and I feel something cold and wet.
Oh my!
And I was just like, "Oh no, did I spill my coffee?"
No,
that was my first thought. Did I spill my coffee? And I looked over, and nope, my coffee cup's still standing upright. So I slowly pulled my hand out from underneath the blanket, and I took a sniff.
No.
And I was like, "Oh no, I have shit myself in the middle of the floor in Tyler's house
in your sleep."
And the bathroom is downstairs in the basement. And I don't have my prosthetic on because it's in the closet. And my suitcase was outside in the van.
This is like a comedy / horror movie that you're describing.
So I sit up.
I've been muted the whole time because I'm just fucking giggling my ass off. It's same here, dude. Jesus.
This is like a Judd Apatow movie or something. Like
this is a Tucker Max story.
I sit up and I pull the blanket back, and sure enough, there is a puddle of liquid shit. It's like, you've seen water balloons? I had a shit balloon. I had a shit balloon go off. It wasn't a water balloon. It was just splash everywhere. So I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I get up, and I'm just taking my blanket, and I'm just kind of like mopping up shit with my blanket and crawling backwards towards the stairs so I can go down to the bathroom and wash off. So I'm trying to scoop up all the shit in the blanket and make sure it's clean and everything. And I make it down the steps, you know, no prosthetic on. I'm crawling down the stairs, dragging a shit-filled blanket, crawling across the fucking room when I get down there into the utility room.
He's just mopping up shit like it's guts in a war. He's just like, my insides are on my outsides.
Yeah. And just scooping it up into a trash bag blanket. And
it's trash.
I get to the I get to the utility room, which is where the bathroom is offshoot from. And there's just like a little step up, so I crawl up into there. And now I realize, fuck, this bathroom has got it's a tile floor. I'm covered from the waist down in liquid shit. My knees, it's squishing when I'm crawling because it's inside of my shorts and it's squishing and I'm slipping and sliding.
My God.
I don't have my prosthetic on. Here I am, one-legged man trying to get the leverage to get up out of the tile floor onto a toilet because I still got to shit some more. And I managed to get up on the toilet, and then just like the levee broke. It's just
The Imodium finally gave up.
and the Imodium gave up 30 minutes before this. That's the problem.
There was a tiny Imodium dam, and it was done.
So I was just like, and it hurt. It hurt so bad. It's just like my guts were turning inside out, shoving everything from my inside to my outside, and as fast as it possibly could.
It was so much shit. British Petroleum had to come and apologize on TV the next day.
They had to get a hazmat team there to clean up all the animals with Dawn dish soap, and because Dawn's safe for birds and the wildlife. But no, man, I got done, and I was like, uh-oh, and I was like, this is Tyler. Tyler's in the middle of renovating this house, so I stood up and I looked around. And there's about a half a roll of toilet paper, and I look down, and this toilet is covered in my shit everywhere. There's this floor is covered in my shit where I had to crawl and drag my leg across, and there's shit everywhere. So, amazingly, none got on my fucking shirt. So I pull up Tyler's rugs, and push them out of the way so they wouldn't be getting no shit got on them. I balled my shit clothes up over and put them by the toilet, and I looked under his cabinet, and I was like, oh, he has cleaning supplies. Thank goodness.
Okay.
He had a wash rag and some Tilex or something toilet cleaner. I doused that rag, and I just started scrubbing that fucking bathroom, the toilet, the sides, inside, outside, and the floor until it was spotless, and I just kept cleaning and backed my way into the shower stall. And, laid my shirt up on the sink, and then I'm like, fuck. I can't reach the shower head, but I can sit here in the bottom of this shower and fucking wash off. So that's what I did, and I washed up, took a shower, made sure I was completely clean. And then I put my shirt on, grabbed a towel, put it around me, and I was like, oh, fuck. My clothes are in the van. My clothes are in the van. It's like, and at this point, it's about 5:45 in the morning. And I go over and I open up the utility door and I'm listening. And it's quiet as fuck. I hear Joe over in the recliner about 40 feet away and he's snoring. I was like, hey, Joe. Joe, you awake? It's like, anybody? And it's like, anybody in this goddamn house awake? Nothing.
You're just loud whispering.
I was like, yeah. Yeah, because I didn't want to be rude and wake up everybody, but if somebody heard me, I was going to be like, I need you to go out to the car. I had an accident. Yeah, right. That's my plan.
Yeah.
But nobody's stirring. Here comes the cat. Meow. And it just walked over to me. And it's like, hi, kitty. And I just laid there and just started petting the cat until somebody got up. And as soon as I heard somebody get up, I was going to call out to them. Well, about 10, 15 minutes later, I heard somebody sit up. And then it's like, oh God, I think, what's that smell?
Oh, no.
And then I hear Russ.
Oh God.
I hear Russ. Oh God. What is that? And I hear Betsy roll over. She's like, oh, what is that? And then I hear Larry. I think the cat shit.
Oh, man.
And then they said,
No.
and they're like, where's Josh? He must have had to go to the bathroom. And they're sitting there, and Jason pulls out his flashlight, and he's shining the flashlight around. And he sees I'm not there. He's looking around for cat shit. And then he sees, apparently I had missed a spot, and there's just a streak of shit right around the corner. And he was just like, oh, no.
Follow the shit.
He's like, he says, I think he crapped himself. And they're like, what? And then I hear somebody moving around. Somebody goes to the kitchen. They get something. I hear somebody spraying something and wiping something up. So apparently I did miss a fucking puddle. And they're wiping up.
Dude, your Lowry impression is perfect.
Yeah,
His Rush impression is great too.
I was like, I was just like, well, okay. I opened up the door at this point because I knew it was time to face the music. Now, I heard him say, I think the cat shit. I could have easily had said the cat shit and I rolled over into it and I was down here getting cleaned up. But come on, who's going to buy that? I mean, really. So I opened up the door and Anna's at the top of the stairs and I see her and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I said, and I'm about to just break down crying at this point. I was like, "No, I'm not. I've had a horrible accident." And she's like, "It wasn't the cat." I was like, "No, it was me." I was like, "My clothes are in the van. Could somebody please go get my clothes out of the van?" She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Russ, go get his bags." And she's like, "I'm not going down there. He might be naked." I had a towel around me and I was laying there, but I didn't have any clean clothes. Russ goes and he gets my bags. He didn't know which one to get, so he bought both of them. I had 2 carry on. And he comes down and he's got his shirt pulled up over his nose because, this was some powerful smelling shit.
Yeah.
He's got his shirt pulled up his nose. He's like, "Here's your bags. You need anything else?" I was like, "No, man, I got it. Thanks." He's like, "All right, see you." He was gone like a ninja back up them fucking steps. I've never seen Russ move so fast in my life.
Fedora still on top of his head?
No, he didn't have the fedora on at this point.
Dude.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning. He didn't have the fedora on at this point.
Dude, my image of Russ was that he went to sleep and woke up with the fedora like fastened to his head. Ruined forever.
But yeah, man. I start to clean up, and then I said, "Tyler." He came down for a minute. I was like, "Can I have some like grocery bags, Walmart bags, something like that?" And I was like, "Do you have a trash bag?" He's like, "Yeah." So I put my shit-filled blanket because it's still full of just shit everywhere all over it, and I put it in the garbage bag. And then I took my shorts and my underwear, and put them in a Walmart bag, tied it up, then put it in another Walmart bag, tied it up, and did that multiple times to where you couldn't actually smell it through. And I put it in, inside of another bag inside of one of my bags.
You forgot to apply fire.
Yeah. Well, I looked at Tyler. I was like, "Man, you can just burn that blanket, I guess, or throw it away, whatever." He actually washed it, and he's going to bring it to me at TFCon, or not TFCon. He's going to bring it to me. He's going to bring it to me when next time he comes in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
Nice. But I was just like, okay, I'm dressed. I got my bags packed back up. The bathroom's spotless. I cleaned it spotless. And I'm humiliated. I've never been this humiliated in my entire life. And I crawl over across the room. Now everybody in the house is awake at this point, and they're all ready to go. And the thing is, my shit was so powerful, the skunk smell was completely gone. All you could smell was my shit.
That's how you know you're a fucking man.
So I crawl over to the bottom of the steps, and here I am. I'm on my knees. And I'm staring up at everybody. And Vinny had apparently left right before this happened. And he said, I looked up at him. I said, "If you guys want me to just call Misty and tell her to come to Ohio and get me, I'll understand." And Lowry's like, "Shit happens." And then they're all making up stories. They're all of a sudden making up stories. "Oh, I shit my pants before," or it happens to all of us. And it's like,
oh, what nice friends.
Not in front of a living room of 12 people, it doesn't. But 30 minutes later, we're all on the road laughing our asses off about it.
Yeah.
Oh, but dude, there for a time. I was about to break down and cry because I was so humiliated. I was like, this is the first time meeting all these people. I've been in their company for 6 days. Now I shit all over myself. I'm going to be targeted as the shitter. It's just like, nobody's going to invite me anywhere if I ever shit my pants again.
Shut upon us.
Went to Pinkerton's for New Year's, and I slept on the floor, slept on his white carpet in his basement. And I slept right next to the bathroom door just in case, man. But I was just like, everybody's like, "Don't shit yourself now." I was like, "It happened one time, so I had to prove that I'm not a shitter, so I had to stay there."
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's my most embarrassing shit story ever.
That kind of tops virtually anybody's. So I mean, like that's
Yeah.
why you had to get the Swan song here, because I mean that's literally like a holy shit. Like
Totally.
there's no
And it happened on a Sunday.
Yeah. That should be the name of the story. It happened on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday.
You need to
shitty
type it up
Sunday.
and title it. It happened on a Sunday. Oh Jesus! All right, but on
The first time I told that story, though, oh my god, because I told it on an episode of MPSP Theater.
Yep.
Episode 13, The Further Misadventures of the Bang Bus.
Yep.
So to hear the funnier version of that story, go watch that.
Yeah. Then you told it, and then you told it here, and
I
you
told it.
on
I told it
Off
on
the Runner.
Told it on Off the Runner, and I told it to you, and like 3 nights in a row, I told that story, but nobody heard it actually on air until they heard it live that Friday night, and the reactions were just amazing because everybody that was on the bus was in the fucking, just about everybody was on the show.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm. This makes me very happy that you actually managed to come in and join in on this. Who the fuck is typing?
Oh, that's me. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, you're good.
Well, it's like because it wasn't
mechanical keyboard. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Out of
Yeah,
habit,
my
I was
bad.
about to holler at Dalton.
Yeah, I was thinking
Just
too,
out of habit.
but I hadn't heard the helicopters, so I figured it wasn't Dalton. But all right, let's go ahead and wrap up then, because it's late here and I got to get up stupid early in the fucking morning because of work.
I apologize.
No, that's not
Keeping
your.
you up
It's
so
not your
late.
fault. I mean, I knew this was gonna run long. We also started late, so no big deal.
Yeah, it was a good damn story though. I never heard it before.
I know.
I'm sure
That's why it was
everybody-
worth it, because there's at least 2 people right here who had never heard that before. And,
That was really hilarious.
Now it'll live
It's
forever
never
on my
not
channel.
funny.
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking gnarly.
Yeah. But guys, of course, thanks to all my special guests over here for coming and talking about some embarrassing shit that they've been through, or just terrible stuff they've done to other people. Looking at you, Sammy.
Oh, yeah.
Or coming in way too late.
Yeah, or coming in to where it didn't even matter. So thanks for showing up anyways, Dalton. But either way, guys, like, subscribe, do all the dumb things. Eventually I'll get links to other people's channels and throw them down in the description. And of course, thanks to Ryan for coming and hanging out when he could. Sorry he had to drop out. But if you guys enjoyed this, leave a comment down below. The chat, or at least what remained of the chat, was having a good time there for a little while. Especially Judd, who was laughing his ass off at Josh's
Judd's awesome.
shit story. Judd is awesome. I gotta have him back on again one day. But guys, have a great night. Have a great rest of your week. The Balls for Balls winner announcement will be on Saturday at some point. I gotta edit that between Friday night and Saturday afternoon and get that out as soon as I can. And so Josh wants to know where he placed in the contest.
If I even placed it all. I mean, maybe I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So
you could think that, couldn't you? You could think that.
don't taunt me.
I'm not taunting you, dude. You know you did a fucking phenomenal job on that. But either way, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the end button here, so then we can do this bullshit for a second. Bye, guys.
Later.